coaches are in the spotlight. Coming up next.
Raycom Sports and Entertainment presents Southwest Conference Football. Today's game is brought to you by Dr. Pepper and Dr. Pepper Bottlers. By Jefferson Pilot Life Insurance Company. By British Airways. By Citgo. By GTE. And by Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Life. Welcome to warm, breezy, overcast Austin, where today the Longhorns close out their home season against the Baylor Bears. And happy you could join us again today for our final 1989 Raycom Southwest Conference Game of the Week. Dave Barnett along with Dave Rowe. And the Longhorns' dream will not come true. They had hoped to come into today's game needing a win to set up a winner-take-all showdown with the Texas A&M Aggies next week for the host role in the Mobile Cotton Bowl. But, of course, the Aggies' one-point loss to Arkansas prevented that scenario. So the Horns play for pride and a winning record today, and Baylor says goodbye to at least the second-best linebacker they've ever had.
Well, that may be an arguable point. I think right now that Grant Teaff may be changing his thoughts. He said in the beginning of the season that there's only been one great linebacker, Mike Singletary, but look at James Francis. Boy, I'll tell you, he has done everything for the Baylor Bears. 115 tackles, he's blocked 8 kicks, 3 interceptions, he scored points. He's just done everything for Baylor.
He's the main reason they're the top-rated defense in the conference. Offensively, it's just the opposite. They're the last-rated team, and the big problem has been the injury to quarterback Brad Gable.
Well, that's the big question today, is how well Ed Lovell will play, because he is taking the place of Brad Gable. And you can see there, 13 of 31. He had 4 interceptions last week. Baylor has just not played well on offense. They have just sputtered all season long. A lot of pressure on Lovell today.
Only 4 senior starters for the Longhorns, obviously a team of the future in the Southwest Conference, and especially a tailback where Adrian Walker may end up their all-time freshman rushing leader.
Well, they call it here in Texas the Walker combination. It's Adrian Walker and Johnny Walker. Look at these statistics of Adrian Walker, 4.5 yards every time he carries the ball, 739 yards. I think he's got a good shot to win the rushing title here at Texas. And for Johnny Walker, he's Mr. Downfield. He just goes all out all the time. He can beat you all the time deep.
Already has the single-season reception school record, and he goes after Tony Jones' yardage record for a single season today. And something has to give in the Omen category, because every team that has played Rice this year has won the next week, and Baylor played the Owls last week. However, they haven't won here in Austin since 1951. Back in a moment. David McWilliams closing out his 4th season here at his alma mater in Austin, trying to go above 500 for that span, overall 23-20. And he says pride is the issue, and that is something certainly worth playing for, even though they can't make it to a bowl after the result at College Station yesterday. And Grant Teaff, of course, the dean of Southwest Conference coaches, and number 3 in the nation in tenure at the same school.
Well, and today they're hoping that he's going to keep the worms warm. 11 years ago, he did an unbelievable thing. He told a joke about keeping the worms warm. It's about the 2 ice fishermen. A lot of people have heard it. And Grant proceeded. His team was 2-8. He proceeded to pull out a night crawler and actually eat that night crawler and spurred his team on to victory. So they're hoping he has the worms warm for Baylor today.
As we said, it is warm for this time of the year and certainly windy and very humid, but there is not supposed to be any rain. And Jeff Ireland will get us underway. Deep receiving for the Longhorns are Adrian Walker and Grady Cavness and Chris Samuels. And he will take it 7 yards deep. And the Longhorns, after the touchback, begin at their own 20-yard line. And Peter Gardere, despite an injured right shoulder, will start today. And, of course, he is the freshman standout from Houston Lee, who had the big comeback victories against Rice, Oklahoma, and Arkansas in October. With him, Samuels and Tubbs in the backfield. Jones, Walker, and Cash are the receivers. And up front, Cunningham, Adams, McFarland, Boyd, and Thomas. a huge offensive line. Bubba Smith for the second straight week runs at fullback in the opening play of the game, which is thrown behind Tony Jones. Covered on the left side by Charles Bell. Defensively for Baylor, we said the #1 unit in the conference, number 11 in the nation. With Jones, Dotson, Howard, and Godfrey, their front four. And you would be hard-pressed to find better linebackers anywhere in the country with Francis, Kinney, and Hafford. With the secondary, Frank, Bell, Blackman, and Welch also among the better groups anywhere.
Boy, and Texas is already spreading them out. One back. They're going to throw the ball.
And Gardella gets no chance as he is sacked by Francis.
Well, who else would you expect except Russ excuse me, I'm thinking of Russ Francis. James Francis. Francis on a delay blitz right up the middle. They opened it wide open for him. Watch James Francis just blitz right up the gut. See, everybody goes wide right up the middle. There comes Francis into the picture. And when he gets his hands on him, but he doesn't drop anything.
His 11th tackle behind the line this year. And a loss of 8 yards. Up the middle goes Bubba Smith. Only the 5th time this year he's carried the ball, and he barely makes it past the original line, the 21-yard line, 9-yard pickup. And that is it for the first Longhorn possession of the day, as we look at what Texas has to do to become victorious again here against Baylor.
Well, first of all, contain James Francis. He is unbelievable. Just saw the evidence there. Pressure Ed Lovell. He threw 4 interceptions and play with pride. That's what David McWilliams has called it all week long. Play with pride.
Bobby Liljadol, the #3 ranked punter in the country, almost had that one blocked by Keith Caldwell, and it'll wobble down to the 37-yard line from Malcolm Frank. Broke one tackle, got to the 46. After a 42-yard punt, a 9-yard return by the junior from Beaumont Central. And offensively for Baylor, Ed Lovell again getting the start for the injured Brad Gable, who's got badly bruised ribs. Eric Gilstrap starts for Jeffrey Murray, who broke his hand against the Owls last week. Elvin Raphael also in the backfield. He's on the receivers. Gray, Turnpalm, McCool, Jones, Vastbinder will do the blocking.
Great field position, Dave, to start this drive.
Straight up the middle into Longhorn territory. 8 yards on the first down carry by Gilstrap, the senior from Lake Highlands in Dallas. Defensively for Texas, Steve, Patton, Hackamack, and Giles. Duncombe, Jones, and Curl the linebackers. Jones and Curl are top tacklers, and Barry, Bierman, Gunn, and Malone in the secondary. Stanley Richard in at 1 safety as the Bears look at 2nd down and 2. And the same play with a flag down this time. If the play stands, it's an easy Bear first down by Gilstrap after 7 more yards.
Well, I think the call is going to be the defense jumped off sides. You can see there the signal, defense jumped off sides. Lovell does a smart thing. He comes up and he changes his snap count and emphasizes that second one and drew Hackamack and the 2 interior tackles, both Hackamack and Patton, off sides.
Joe Thomas, our referee today. The Baylor Bear must.
Well, first of all, Baylor must forget about Rice. That's got to be the biggest disappointment this year. Open up on offense. Lovell's got to go downfield. He's got to not force the football and stop Adrian Walker. He had an outstanding game last week, and he wants another one today.
Third time in a row they go up the middle, and this time the Longhorns sniff it out. Brian Jones met Gilstrap head on.
And let me tell you this, you don't wear number 60 here in Texas if you're not great. Look at the arm strength on him, and watch Brian Jones step up into the hole. There he is, number 60, sheds the block in the center. Perfect block. Now watch, step up, wrap him, stick him right in the middle, grab those legs, and down he goes.
Brian Jones, only a junior out of Lubbock Dunbar. No gain on first down. First time they don't run up the middle. And the ball is caught at the 32-yard line by Reggie Miller. Freshman from Waco, brought down by Grady Katniss after his 16th reception of the year. He's been a deep threat. He's had a 17.5-yard average. He's also the 4th leading rusher on the team. He's carried 5 times for 51 yards. Might keep that in mind today.
And he's also a freshman, one of the many that are going to play in this game. A lot of young players on both teams.
3rd down and 3. Bears needing to get to the Horn 29-yard line, so a very long 3. And timeout is called by Baylor. As soon as they saw the Texas defensive set, they burned their first timeout. So we're very early in Austin. The Bears driving with 11:28 to go in the first. After the timeout, Bears looking at what actually is going to be 3rd down and 4 yards to go at the Longhorn 33-yard line. Interesting how they were able to manhandle the Texas defensive front the first 3 times they tried it.
They really did. They ran very well, and then Brian Jones took control of it then, and then all of a sudden they kind of stopped it. Now they think they have to go back through the air.
3 receivers all stacked at the top of your screen. And Lovell looks that way and overthrows David Frost, who was open for the first down. The coverage there by Cavness.
Oh, boy, and Lovell would love to have this one back because it was thrown. He threw it too hard. He had a little curl at right about 7 yards, and it was just a perfect pass, and Lovell tried to drill it to him, and he just got no results. The ball was overthrown, but he was wide open.
So Ireland is on 15 of 21 field goals along with 46 this year. This one will be right at 50 with a slight angle, as you can see, to his right. That one's got plenty of distance, and he has split the upright.
And what a hold there. I want to tell you, that was one of the best holds you'll ever see on an extra point. The ball came flopping in there, and the holder just flipped the ball back up and gave Ireland a chance to get the 3 points.
So the sophomore from Abilene Cooper.
Maybe we can see the hold. See the hold right there, Dave? He flopped the ball down, got it up in time, and there's Ireland's 3 points.
Easily his best of the year. We want to extend a special welcome to those of you joining us on the Prime Network this afternoon. We are 3-0 Baylor after the 50-yard field goal by Jeff Ireland. With that stiff southerly breeze behind him, he made it look easy. It was a 6-play drive punctuated by the up-the-middle blast of Eric Gilstrap, who got the start at fullback today. On the left is Adrian Walker. On the right is Chris Samuels. And a high kick, a little bit shorter this time, but again, Samuels will think about it but not run it out. And the Horns again start from their 20. Our Dr. Pepper scoreboard early in the afternoon in the second quarter. Number 3 Michigan hoping to make it all the way to the Rose Bowl again. And number 22 Penn State at Pittsburgh with the 10-0 lead, also second quarter. Well, no comment from you?
No, not after last week when Penn State got destroyed by the great Notre Dame team. There's not much you can comment about that game. Important drive here for Texas. They've got to get some offense going.
They've got Walker left, Jones right. 1st and 10, give to Adrian Walker, and he is blasted down hard by Gary Joe Kinney, the middle linebacker. The best testament to his season, Dave, is he leads in tackles by 1 over Francis coming in.
I know. When's the last time you've seen a team that has potentially 3 players to go over 100 tackles on the defense? And that's, of course, Gary Joe Kinney, James Francis, and Mike Welch has got 96 tackles. They play solid defense. They are a good defensive team. They just have not been able to generate any offense consistently.
Walker with the pitch and a flag down as he's dropped behind the line. This is the type defense the Bears have played most of the year. This one a loss of 3 as we await the penalty call from Joe Thomas.
That's probably going to be holding in the backfield. It was thrown behind it. There's the hold. What that call is most times it's the offside guard or tackle trying to cut off the defensive tackle, and he dives on the back of his legs and just tackles him. It's actually behind the play. It's downline pursuit that he's trying to tackle. You can see David McWilliams doesn't like it.
And Kenny discussing the option. They did drop him for a loss of 3.
Holding. Offense. 2nd down.
But they'll take the field position and back him up to the 10-yard line. Texas at 5-4 for the year, 4-2 in the conference, number 6 rated offense for the season, 369 total yard average. And when they get over 100 yards as a team, they don't lose. They're 5-0. When they're under 100 yards rushing, they are 0-4. Another key number to keep in mind, as was the case against TCU last week. Adrian Walker Walker quick start, but not much. He may have gotten to the 13 at best, and so they will again look at long yardage deep in their own end.
For this Baylor defense, a lot of the people that are watching, Baylor fans, ask, well, what do we got to look forward to next year? Well, you've got a very young defense out there. Your front four linemen, Jones, Dotson, Howard, and Godfrey, will all be back, 2 juniors and 2 sophomores. So they've got some strength back there. Of course, they're going to lose a lot in James Francis and Gary Joe Kinney, but they've got their defensive secondary back, too.
And for Texas, almost everybody comes back. They lose Jones, Cunningham, and McFarland, and that's it on offense. 3rd and 17, and that one intercepted, and goodbye. Touchdown, Baylor on the interception and return.
And this is almost like, I don't believe it came into my hand. This is unbelievable. And it's the one person that we kind of forgot that's a senior celebrating and showcasing a great season, and that's Robert Blackman. That ball looked like it got tipped and just fell right in his hands. I mean, I think he was more surprised than anyone.
Well, that's shades of what Arkansas did at about this same point in the game yesterday at College Station. 20 yards on the unencumbered return by Robert Blackman, his 6th interception of the season. He has already made one All-America team, the Walter Camp squad, and Ireland back on to try to make it 10-0 with 9:36 still to go first quarter, and he does.
Perhaps we can see this from ground level, Dave. Now watch here. You're behind Gardere. Now watch when he throws the ball. It doesn't get tipped there. Watch Tony Jones. Yes, he tipped it. And look at Blackman, just catches it right in stride, just jogs into the end zone. I thought that ball was tipped. It looked like the trajectory of the ball changed. Watch Tony Jones reach out and just touch the ball. And boom, Blackman with that heads-up play, closing on it, scores.
Incredibly quick reflexes to bring that one in, and it's 10-0 Bears here at Austin. All right, Dave, let's dig deep. Who was Bocce Koch, and what significance does he have today?
Well, he was the first consensus All-American player in the Southwest Conference at Baylor. He's a 1930 guard. Amos Alonzo Stagg and Newt Rockney called him one of the greatest players they ever saw. So I came up with a little Bocce Koch All-Southwest Conference name team. And you can see some of the interesting names. Juju Harshaw, Trooper Taylor, Brisket Howard, Monsanti Levine, Uzo Okeke, that was another one from SMU, Irish Lewis, of course, Felton Ransby, and Bingo Mancias. Those are kind of some of the interesting names in the Southwest Conference this year.
Not to mention Ivory Christian.
Oh, yes, I forgot Ivory there.
Ireland, for the 3rd time, preventing any type of run back by Chris Samuel. So the Horns stung now with 10 unanswered Baylor points. 9:36 first quarter, very early, but it's a position they've almost never been in this stadium against Baylor. Again, their winning streak here dates back 38 years over this team.
Was there a tie during that time? I think there was one tie. There was no tie. Okay. You should know the walking facts. But it goes back to 1951 since they've won here. That's amazing.
19 straight. However, it's just the opposite in Waco, where Baylor has lost only once since 1972. 7 of 8 for the Bears there. And Gardere with nowhere to go, wrapped up at the 17. A loss of 2. Greg Effinger, the backup left tackle, the first man among many to get to Gardere.
Yeah, that's the 3rd kickoff, and we haven't had a return yard yet. That wind is probably a little bit stronger than what we anticipated it to be. They said 8 to 10 miles an hour, but those flags are standing straight out, so it's probably a little bit stronger in the face of Texas.
Jones goes wide right, and Walker is left, as Adrian Walker has to immediately elude the first hit by Yared Long and maybe pick up 1 yard. The pursuit of Baylor has been the story defensively.
Pursuit and penetration. That's what they call it on the defensive line. When you're able to penetrate the offensive line and force that running back to bend around you, then the help comes from the backside. Then you get the great pursuit. So today for Baylor, it's going to be penetration in the front line and pursuit by those linebackers.
And psychologically for Texas, obviously it's a difficult position because they can't go to the Cotton Bowl, and that was their hope and their motivation until yesterday. So they've got to overcome that, and that's not going to help. Gardere is blasted by James Francis for a 7-yard loss. Already 2 sacks for the All-American.
I want to tell you what a tackle is. Watch Gardere when he sets up here. There's someone from the backside, but you're going to see James Francis come right into your picture. Bam! And I mean just, that's a decleater. That's the ones where the cleats come up. Wow. Francis is quite a specimen.
Now watch out, because he has tied the single-season NCAA record for block kicks. Doesn't get close to this one, and Liljedahl sails it to the 45-yard line. And watch out for Frank. Flags are down, but Frank isn't. Now finally at the 28, ball goes free. And Baylor recovers, but we've got some flags to take care of.
Yes, we have 2 flags that are back there, which would most likely indicate a clip or a low block, chop block, but and it made them return may be for naught. But what great field position again for Baylor. They have been just at midfield this entire first quarter.
Frank's return went 28 yards after a 42-yard punt. It is coming back on clipping. So the first break of the day for a very flat Texas Longhorn team. I don't think there's any question. We've seen enough now to know that
On the run back. First down.
they need to somehow manufacture a spark for themselves.
Well, every coach that coaches football will tell you that emotion is about 75 to 80% of the game. You need talent, yes, but you need emotion. And this Texas team is definitely flat. And that's why David McWilliams stressed when they're unable to go to the Cotton Bowl that we're playing for pride.
Well, the crowd into it with the Bears back now at their 36-yard line. Lovell turns, Tibbs, and the second effort by Gilstrap picks up 3 yards after he narrowly averted a loss. Ken Hackamack got the quick penetration from right defensive tackle.
And I saw Scott McCool got up very slowly that time. He had Hackamack right on his nose. And Hackamack just blasted off the ball, shed McCool aside, and made that tackle. I need to look up at Ken Hackamack, 6'10", 305-pound senior.
Final home game for him and 19 other Longhorn seniors. Lovell on 2nd down and 7. The give to Raphael. Gets wide. Good blocks. First down. And Mark Berry prevents an even bigger gain at the Horn 45-yard line. 16 by Raphael, the junior from Lawton, Oklahoma.
And what made this play work was the play fake in the middle. You see Lewis stuck right there in the middle? Excuse me, Jones in the middle there also. And everybody got stuck in the middle, and then all of a sudden Raphael came around the outside. But the play fake in the middle, the dive, really held the linebackers.
So the Bears on the march again, up 10-0 midway first quarter. Only 4 and 6 for the year coming in. 3 and 4 in the conference. This is Gilstrap, and again, he pops for about 5 down to the 40. Every time they're getting the blocks and the holes that they need to squirt through.
You're exactly right. They are controlling the defensive line of Texas right now. Those big linemen that Baylor has, Monty Jones at 291 pounds, Turnpaw at 330. Those are both sophomores. They'll both be back. Good drive blockers, and they're controlling the line of scrimmage right now.
This is where an offense likes to be. 2nd down at 5. Bobby Jack Goforth in wide left along with David Frost. And Lovell, the short drop, fires it out, caught by Goforth. And met head on by Kapnis at the 25-yard line. Goforth, their leading receiver last year, makes his 6th catch of this season, which was cut short by a very severe knee injury. And a flag is down back at the 40.
Yes, there's a flag, and this may come all the way back. Illegal motion. It's going to bring that back. A lot of people in Baylor, and you can see Grant Taft there looking off, trying to ask what the call is. But a lot of people in Baylor are happy to see Bobby Jack Goforth.
Illegal formation. Offense. 2nd down.
But they're happy to see him back playing because he did have such a severe knee injury that a lot of people said that he wouldn't come back.
Well, he did, and this is his finale of his college career. Senior from Caldwell. Stays in, goes wide right. Reggie Miller back in, comes wide left. On now 2nd and 10. Play action for Lovell. Looks right, lofts it over the head of Gilstrap, who is open. Covered by Anthony Pearl, the freshman linebacker. They really miss Murray in the passing game. From the fullback spot, he's their leading receiver by a long margin.
Yeah, 37 catches. It's tough to take him coming out of the backfield. He's so good on that flare route getting open. As we look at our Dr. Pepper Roundup, there's an update on Michigan taking control of that game against Ohio State in the second period.
3rd and 10. Both wideouts, top of your screen, right side. With Cross back in, inside of Goforth. Lovell rolling right, plenty of time, and again overshoots Goforth. Covered well that time by Mark Berry, and the Horns have forced the kicking situation for Grant Taft, who sends Pete Rutter, the top punter in the conference, into the game. And he, if he has a big day, may have the best season in Baylor punting history. Buzzy Sawyer has the best at 44.9 in 1984. And you can see how close Rutter is.
Well, on this kick, he's going to kick from the 45-yard line, so the best he could get is a 45-yard kick. That's if he kicks in the end zone, of course.
So Samuel standing at his 10-yard line. Angles to the left side, and the wobbly spiral well out of bounds, and this will not really help his average at all. Horns are going to start from their 18 when we return. Accommodations arranged through Hilton and the Hilton Honors Program, which offers frequent travelers the fastest route to a free hotel stay. Call 1-800-HILTONS for details. 10-0 Baylor, 5:43 in the first quarter, and the Horns start at their own 18-yard line, trying to get untracked. They have done virtually nothing offensively. And they've had the interception return for a touchdown by Blackman, and this one almost had the same fate out on that left flank, as Blackman again was right there, anticipating perfectly.
And I want to tell you, my first question is, how good is Peter Gardaire's arm? Because this ball just floats out there and allows the defender to come underneath. And really, he should have had that ball. That was almost like the one he did catch. But my first thought is, how sore is Peter Gardaire's arm? We heard that last week he had an elbow injury and a shoulder injury, and he's out there trying to play.
And 0 for 3 through the air. They go to Chris Samuel. Not much. Maybe back to the line of scrimmage. Robin Jones, the left defensive end, and Francis in on the stop. And the obvious question, Dave, becomes, if you're David McWilliams, when do you think about warming up Donovan Forbes?
Well, after the game he had last week, I wouldn't go long with Peter Gardaire if his arm is sore. I just wouldn't go a long time, because Forbes played remarkably well last week. I mean, I thought he had one of the best games I've seen a quarterback ever come in and relieve.
Well, he was 8 of 9, 117 yards and a touchdown, and brought them back from behind against the TCU Horned Frogs. Kenny all over Adrian Walker. That's it for another Texas series. And the Baylor defense going out in fine fashion today. Number 1 in the conference, and looking every bit the part here in the first quarter.
Well, when that middle linebacker steps up like that, and he can avoid that block, he is awesome. And that's what Gary Joe Kinney is on that play. He just steps up, avoids that block, plow, down he goes. And this is the 3rd or 4th drive where they've ended up and have the punt. I don't think they've made a first down yet.
I don't think so. 3rd punt for Liljadal. And into the wind, a wobbler, which will come down to Frank, 44-yard line. Up to midfield. So 10-0 Bears, 4-12 in the first quarter. Don't forget, coming up at halftime, we will see Dave Rose, long-awaited, much anticipated, all Southwest Conference selections.
Some really top-flight players that are not only great Southwest Conference players, but have got great futures ahead of them.
And a lot of unanticipated and, I'm sure, unasked for help in selecting.
Oh, gosh, yes, I know. I will give some credit, just a small amount of credit to you, David Handler, Lonnie Dale, Johnny Tyus, and everybody else who threw in.
Greg Anderson now in wide out on the right side, and Lovell looks to him, fires it out underneath and behind it. The junior from Odessa Permian. Coverage there by Richard and Berry.
And that's a setup play by Lovell. What he's doing there is he's setting up the secondary. He's run several outs right over there. He's run 2 or 3 outs on his sideline, and all of a sudden when that cornerback bites on that out play, you turn it up, and then you just loft it as far as you can go. And when you have the speed of a Greg Anderson, he can run under it.
Lovell only 1 of 5 today, only 42% for the year, 7 interceptions, no touchdowns, 4 of the interceptions in the loss to the Owls last week. This looks like a much different Baylor team. And this is Raphael crawling up to the 46 for 4 yards. Stanley Richard met him there. Leading Bear rusher for the year. And not alternating with Lincoln Coleman anymore, because several weeks ago Coleman was suspended by Grant Taft for breaking a team rule and has not come back. So Raphael having to shoulder that much more of their load.
Yes, the junior's done very well, averaging over 4 yards per carry.
Murdoch and Forbes warming up, and Forbes is the man that Murdoch is throwing to. So one of the two may be in rather soon. 3rd down and 6 to go. And Lovell dropped by Brian Jones.
Brian Jones took a lesson from Gary Joe Kinney. Not that he needed to, but the junior steps up in the play, and he makes a big play right here, taking down the quarterback. You'll see him, number 60, steps up through the line. Right there, he comes into your picture and takes down Ed Lovell from behind and stops that flip play.
People think leadership means you got to scream and holler on the sideline. That's another way you can show leadership. Make a play and try and spark something.
Absolutely. The great players take control of the games. The Hackamacks and the Brian Joneses and those type players, they take control of this game.
Rudder again angling, and this one appears to be a little bit better than the last one, which only went for 27 to the 18 of Texas. This one at the 11-yard line, and Rudder pins him deep. Horns have had virtually no field position to work with at all. Only a 36-yard kick by Rudder, so his average isn't improving, but the field position is what he's after. And listen to the hand as Donovan Forbes relieves Peter Gardere.
Yeah, that's the point I made about David McWilliams, how long he would go with him, because I just didn't think Gardere looked sharp, especially on that out pass when he just kind of floated the ball out there and it was almost intercepted. He just doesn't have his delivery. Now we'll see if Donovan Forbes can pick up from where he left off last week.
Baylor threatens the blitz out of the eye to give to the tailback Lamell Foreman, and here is easily the best yardage on the ground for the Horns today. 12 and a 1st down for the freshman from Del City, Oklahoma. And the key block thrown by Ed Cunningham.
And that's his first down, and we only have 2.5 minutes left in this first quarter. They just have not been able. And then, you know, the first thing that comes to mind is how come a new quarterback comes in and all of a sudden it's just a running play?
Hey, you're right. He's the most popular person on any team. You know that.
Absolutely.
The backup quarterback. Forbes, before last week in his career, has played only 8 games and completed 15 passes. He completed 8 of 9 against the Horned Frogs. Again, this time is met at the 21-yard line. And that gang tackling pursuit by Baylor in evidence again. Gardere suffering with the elbow and the shoulder. And I wouldn't think long range this means anything for his future at Texas. If he's healthy, I'm sure he looks different today.
No, he was able to throw the ball, but he just wasn't able to throw with velocity. You know, as we look at Donovan Forbes, 2 things come to mind. He's been under 4 offensive coordinators here. He had a knee injury. He was academically ineligible. He's just had a tough career, but he's got good promise and a lot of people looking at him.
And he goes deep for Tony Jones, and too deep. He had Malcolm Frank beaten. And that shows you the arm strength. He sailed that one into that breeze of about 22 miles an hour.
He laid it up nicely. A good leader out there, came in here with a lot of promise and really has been the victim of a lot of different circumstances, Dave.
Every time they expected him to make a move and become the starter, something happened. Either he was injured, or he wasn't eligible, or he was overweight. And this is the first time in his 5-year career here as a senior that he really had a chance to contribute. Here comes the blitz. Protection good, and Forbes flushed out. Still looking. And chased out at the 21-yard line. He is mobile, maybe not along the lines of Gardere, but not strictly a sit back and pick him out quarterback.
Well, that time he got flushed a little bit early, though. I think he kind of got flushed out of the pocket, and he never really recovered. I think he could have stayed in the pocket a little bit longer. Bobby Liljadal's getting a lot of work, though, isn't he?
And we've got an official down.
May have been the one holding the flag.
Yep, he got wiped out when Gary Joe Kenny chased Forbes out. Part of the chain crew, and we may be able to see it here.
See, he's right there on the right of your screen. There he is, one of the chain. He has the yellow jacket on. He's part of the chain crew.
Dangerous job. Liljadal barely got it over Francis. That was almost the record breaker. And it takes a longhorn roll inside the 45-yard line.
So I'm going to tell you, Dave, Baylor has had the greatest of field position I've ever seen in a quarter. They've started every drive outside of their own 40-yard line.
Ohio State on the board, still trailing. Penn State tied now by Pittsburgh on our Dr. Pepper roundup. That one a 38-yarder by Liljadal. And still a minute 22 to go before they'll change ends of the fields, and Texas will be able to get that win behind them. Anderson and Frost both top of your screen. Berry and Cavness over there to defend on 1st and 10 for Ed Lovell. And Chase lets it fly and again overthrows David Frost. That has been his problem today. Too much on it, and he was also chased by James Patton.
Boy, I'll tell you, when he overthrows it, he throws it 20 yards past him. You can tell the velocity that he has. I know Grant Taft's not happy with that one because when Frost made his little turn in, he was wide open. That's where you just kind of have to gather yourself as a quarterback and just have confidence that you can deliver it to him. You don't have to drill it through him. You just got to get it to him.
Lovell's situation at Baylor somewhat parallel to that of Forbes at Texas, because at one time it looked like he'd take over after Cody Carlson and Tom Nickey left, and then the emergence of Brad Gable relegated him to backup status again. Raphael knocked out by a big hit from Stanley Richard at midfield. And he's going to be well shy of what he needed for the first down to set up 3rd and about 3, a long 3.
Well, we may set a record today for punts. I know Liljadal's had 4, and I think this may be Rudder's 3rd at least. That's a lot.
Well, they still got one more crack at it. They need to get the 46.5 of Texas, and Raphael shaken up on the contact from Richard. Safety blitz came, and again Lovell overshoots his man. It was Greg Anderson down the sideline, covered by Berry. Lovell did not get enough arc on the ball to let Anderson run under it. That's been his problem, is that he drills the ball. He's a very strong-arm quarterback, and he throws the ball, and it's just on a rope coming to you. Now, on a play like that, you've got to lay it up. And you can see him there talking with the coach. You've just got to lay it up and allow the offensive receiver to run underneath the ball. Rudder again working on angling it out of bounds. He's done it well so far. That's why the numbers are so low. This one draws oohs and ahs and is 7 yards deep in the end zone on the nose down spiral. So a 50-yarder to up that average. And the Horns have 19 seconds remaining in the first quarter, which has been virtually a washout for them. Judge the Bear, however, with the celebratory apple. His club up 10-0. Nice of Lonnie Dale had directed to donate the apple to Judge.
Yeah, I just wonder he just didn't come out and just hand it to him. Let him eat out of his hand. Or let him eat his hand.
Well, they've got the mascots separated. Bevo is all the way on the other side of the field. Average on first down is negative for the Horns. And Adrian Walker, only on the second effort, picks up 2 as Francis hit him immediately, and then Kenny and Dotson helped out.
And it's going to be tough to run against this Baylor offensive line. It's just going to be tough for Texas to run against them with any consistency. They have shown in this first period that they have not been able to run against them. And they're going to have to throw those short to intermediate passes to get downfield.
All Baylor as we reach the end of the first quarter. They lead 10-0, and we'll be back after these messages from your local station. This is the Raycom Sports and Entertainment Network. Still down and apparently awaiting a stretcher. And so the man in the black jacket, Mike Wetzel, who happened to be here, a backup official, stepping in the tradition of the Aggie 12th man to fill in on that chain crew.
I tell you, he wasn't dressed for the occasion, was he? Not in a suit and tie.
Yeah, it's going to be a little harder for him to nimbly step out of the way if they come at him. And David Faulkner, right to his right, we saw. We want to thank him for his fine work for us all year as the Southwest Conference football liaison with Raycom. The gentleman in the white hat doing a fine job all season. First play of the second quarter, second down at 8. The option pitch to Walker, eludes Kinney, and then chased out of bounds by Charles Bell. There's just nothing there for a running back to work with.
No, they're not going to make the corner, not with the great outside speed that Hafford and James Francis have. You just can't make it. They can run with those backs. Francis is amazing. We talk about his size and all his attributes, but at 6'4", 248, you think he's more of the strong type linebacker, but he can run. And I mean, he can fly up and down the line. They said he came in faster this year. Of course, at the other outside spot, they've got Hafford, who's just a sophomore. He's only 197 pounds, and he can run well also.
3rd and 8. Again, the Horns need a first down for at least momentum's sake, and they get it. Catch made by Kerry Cash at the 39-yard line. Tackled by Daniel Morgan. Cash, the junior from San Antonio Holmes, ran a perfect route for Forbes.
And Forbes stays in the pocket. He doesn't get flushed out. And that shows you what he can do. When he stays in there and keeps his confidence, and he finds Kerry Cash out on a little curl pattern, that's got to be a big boost for Donovan Forbes. He needs that kind of a play just to get his confidence and the jitters and relax out there.
Big reception by the Horn tight end, and their first down and 10 at their own 39. So Forbes looking for more through the air. Tony Jones in Baylor territory and then drops the ball. It is a bare recovery at the 46. And it is Charles Bell coming up with the fumble, but a flag is down.
I think that's going to be a dead ball flag. The flag came in very, very late. It looked as if Tony Jones made that on a crossing pattern, and when he got hit from the backside, the ball just kind of squirted out. Let's wait for the call and see what we have. That's a dead ball foul, personal foul, so that'll be tacked on the end. And that doesn't make David McWilliams happy.
Watch the hit here by Malcolm Frank, causing the fumble.
Dead ball. This way. The first down.
See how he just... Actually, Tony Jones got a little bit careless with it when he was starting to slip down. Now, there's the play, and I believe that's what they called. If that's a personal foul, that's tough. Now, watch right here when he reaches behind him. There comes the ball out. Now, the ball is down right in here. Let's see if that's a spear or just a fall on. Well, kind of a little. I think it was Kevin Wiley just kind of fell on him. He didn't look as if he really speared him, but it's tacked on.
Another break that the Bear defense sets up for the Bear offense at the Texas 39. Raphael back into the game after briefly being shaken up. Loses one as Brian Jones and James Patton, the sophomore from League City, left defensive tackle, is there for the stop. And the first quarter stats show the total dominance by the Baylor defense. 7 total yards. 7 total yards in a quarter for Texas. Only 56 for Baylor. They haven't had a lot of success also, but their success has been 10 points, but only 7 yards. That's hard to believe for a team that's moved the ball as well as Texas has all season. Texas taking a page from the Baylor defensive playbook here as they drive back. Raphael against Patton and Jones.
Boy, this is going to come right at you, and you're going to see James Patton, number 92, come in here right when he squares up, and you'll see it right there. Boom. That's exactly what you want to do. Get that legs up underneath you, keep your feet driving. So that's a highlight film for a defensive lineman to make a tackle like that. He didn't try to strengthen up with him. He kept his feet going. That's a nice play by James Patton.
Back to the original line for 3rd and 10 for Lovell. And he's got a wide open man in the middle, but lost his footing and is dropped by Tommy Jeter. He had David Frost for the first down if he'd found him.
The problem was he didn't see him, Dave. When he came out here, he's running to his left. He had Frost on a... Look at Frost. He is so wide open, but Lovell's under pressure, and he can't see him. He just never really gathers himself. Now, see him right there in the top. Now, look right there. He's looking away from Frost. He doesn't see Frost, and when he turns around, he loses his balance, but you were right.
Ryan Jones, the reason he couldn't find him, he had him screened off. Perfect spiral again by Rudder. And Samuels with the reception at the 14, a 33-yard kick. Again, the Horns with very little field position to work with. Our permanent storyline, Francis already a big day. Blackman returned the interception for a touchdown. Gardere obviously still showing the effects of the 2 arm injuries, so Forbes has come on and briefly sparked them until that fumble by Tony Jones. But Baylor couldn't do anything with it, so the Horns start at their 15-yard line, which is just slightly worse than what they've averaged.
Well, everyone, you take all the starts where they have started their drives, and you're looking at an average of about probably 17-yard line to start your drives. This time it's on the 15-yard line.
Forbes has trouble with the snap and then picks up at least 4 yards. That kind of a flashback to the problems he had the few times he got a chance to play before this year. And you'd have to think an indication of the lack of familiarity with the center, Patrick McFarland.
Well, there's a real tendency to pull that out. They pull your hands out too quickly on that center snap. But all Forbes needs is a little bit more playing time. That's been his major problem. There's not enough playing time.
Well, he picked up 4 where they almost coughed it up again. Here comes the rush. Got it off. Going for Jones. Intercepted again by Robert Blackman. And his second touchdown of the day.
Number 21, Robert Blackman, intercepting that pass and going over for the score.
Dave, what happened on this pass? It was just too long a pass, and the coverage is too good. Robert Blackman covers them. They used to call that in the NFL, they call that phone booth coverage. It's like 2 men in a phone booth. Anytime you can stay that close and you've got that long a pass, you allow the defensive back to react too quickly. And he just threw the ball. That was probably a 40-yard pass on an out pattern on the sideline. And it just did not. Blackman was so close, he was able to play the ball just like the receiver.
35 yards on the interception return, the second for a touchdown. Early second quarter, and 16-0 Baylor with Jeff Ireland adding the extra point. So 12 of these 17 points courtesy the strong safety from Van Vleck, Robert Blackman.
Now watch how high this ball goes out there, and see it's just kind of floating out there. Look at the coverage. Blackman is just in great position. That's why he is an All-American choice on many, many teams, because he just plays good one-on-one coverage. Again, you'll see the ball. Now see how far the ball has to be thrown. It's thrown from the left hash all the way across the field, and you see Blackman plays it all the way.
A career day already. We're still early second quarter, and the Bears are running away with it so far. Well, the best offense the Bears have is when Texas throws it to Robert Blackman. They lead 17-0 after his second interception return for a score. And Chris Samuels on the cutback barely manages the 20-yard line. Dave, does the name Johnny Jackson mean anything to you at this point?
It certainly does. I remember a couple years ago, I believe it was, he returned 3 interceptions for a touchdowns and set the NCAA record. And already with 11 and a half minutes left in the second period, Robert Blackman has 2. Gosh.
Jackson did that for Houston 2 years ago in the Cougars' 60-40 win over Texas in the Astrodome. And Blackman's got almost the entire second quarter and the second half to work on tying that record. So the Horns back to work in the deepest hole yet. The freshman fullback, Bubba Smith, spinning for a couple before he's covered by Gary Joe Kinney and also John Godfrey, the right defensive end.
I can tell you what it's like for Texas to play in this game, because I remember having played in the NFL when we would lose out in the chance to go into the playoffs or go for the Super Bowl. And also, I mean, it's tough to come out and play, and that's one of the reasons that I said McWilliams all weeks long said we got to anyway we got to play for pride. Pride has got to motivate us.
This run by Adrian Walker flagged down as he also hits the turf. Brought down by Francis at the 25-yard line. Also Malcolm Frank as we get the call from Joe Thomas.
Going to be holding against Texas. It's going to put him back inside. Gosh, it's going to put him inside the 15-yard line. And this puts the pressure on Donovan Forbes to try to come up with a pass play. You just don't want to force the ball in there.
Holding. Offense. Second down.
I think in the battle of motivation, I think the suddenness of Texas' descent from having a chance is the big factor as Michigan still leads Ohio State at halftime, whereas Baylor's known for a while they're out of it, and they've been able to focus on this as a chance to make history because they haven't won here in 38 years, and also to go out on a winning note for some great seniors.
Oh, absolutely right. And I mean, it was such a late time in the week when they found out that they don't have a chance to go to the Cotton Bowl. That's what really hurt them.
Less than 24 hours ago, they thought they were in it. And this game might mean everything for a chance at a showdown with the Aggies. Walker has scored it out of bounds at the 28-yard pickup. That's about as well as he's managed today. Charles Bell from the left corner chased him out. Another question that comes to mind, how much can they afford to stick with what's been a very inconsistent running game and not go immediately to the air to try and get somewhat back in this game trailing by 17?
Well, it's compounded by the fact that you've got your #1 passer, your quarterback that's taken all the snaps all week and practiced with the offense. He's not leading your team out there. He's already out there, so you've got a backup quarterback, and that's a tough role for him to play.
Forbes on 3rd and 11, play action. And over the middle, catch is made, I believe. And that's going to be close for the first down for Johnny Walker. He did pull it in with 3 white jerseys around it.
Oh, and what a spot. I mean, I thought he was on the other side of the 30-yard line.
I did too. They got him right at the 30.
I mean, when he put the ball down, he put it at about the 31. And it had to make it to just about the 31-yard line. You see the red flag up the top. That's where he had to make it. He's not even going to be close. I'm serious. I thought he was at least at the 31-yard line.
Inches shy, but look where he actually ended up.
Well, let's watch him. He's going to come to the top of there. Now he's curling in. Now watch when he catches the ball. Right there he catches the ball. Now watch when he goes down. He goes right down on the 31-yard line. They mark it back on the 30. Oh, boy, that's a difference. A game of inches. You called it.
They cost him half a yard where he only needed 2 inches where they ended up spotting him.
Oh, he was perfect on that play. He had gotten the first down. That's just a tough spot.
Again, watch for Francis coming right up the middle against Liljadal. And he was blocked well, but he leaps so high that he almost got that one. This one's fumbled, but the Bears again get the break. Their own recovery at the 26 by Daniel Morgan.
Well, they were fortunate to come away with that ball. Baylor was. Now watch how Francis sheds blocks in the middle. He's right in the middle. Now he's blocked right there by 50. Now watch, he just kind of stumbles up. Now watch how close he gets and how high he elevates himself. He's got great leaping ability. Now here's the fumble on the tail end. I'll tell you, this was a fortunate play for Baylor. You see there a heads-up play to come in there and down that ball.
36-yard punt. Frank lost it. Morgan covered it back at the 26. And that's where Baylor starts with 10-10 to play in the first half. Up 17-0. Gilstrap powers up to the 29 to pick up a 3.
I don't know. You know, when I was watching that, I didn't know that Morgan ever got that ball. Now, he didn't get... Now, watch Morgan. He's number 10. Now, watch right there. He doesn't get that position, that ball. That ball's way behind him. Texas recovers it.
That's Bo Robinson who recovered the ball.
Absolutely. Morgan never got the possession of that ball. That should be Texas ball on the 30-yard line.
Well, as usual, our cameras have got all the angles covered. And a difficult year to be an official in the Southwest Conference. They've caught fire from everywhere possible. Camera didn't lie there. This is David Mims' first carry. Up to the 35. He is the freshman from Dangerfield, only 5'9", 176 pounds.
And I want to tell you, that play, a play like that is the difference between getting momentum back and losing a football game. That's a critical play because had Texas recovered that ball, they'd have it on the 30-yard line. It'd be their first positive field position. They'd go in for perhaps at least 3, maybe 7 points to get back in this football game.
And it wipes out the bad spot on Johnny Walker. Didn't work that way. Third and very short yardage. And Brian Jones coming up the middle leads the Texas Surge. No first down. Mark Berry also in there on Mims, but Jones led the way.
And I want to tell you something about Brian Jones. He plays one way, full out. Now watch him over top here. Look, he's over top. He takes the lead blocker. Who's that coming in on top who stuffs him? That's number 9. That's Mark Berry coming in there over top. That's just a super defensive play. And that's what Texas needed. They need something to change the momentum of this game. Perhaps their defense has given them some.
Mainly Jones. And Samuels hoping for a good return as Rudder will punt into the wind.
Well, Dave, we talked about why people wear number 60 here. Every time you look down, you think of Tommy Nobis, Britt Hager, and some of the great middle linebackers that have played football here. And boy, Brian Jones, if he plays like that, and he has played very well, the junior will be back next year. He got a middle linebacker spot. So nice.
Nice long high kick by Rudder. Fair caught by Samuels at the 24-yard line. 8:08 to play. First half. Warren still trying to get something cranked up on the offensive end. Well, we'll get to the Dave Rowe all-conference picks at halftime, but a noteworthy 9 who were just, for one reason or another, shy of making that all-conference team.
I'll tell you, only so many people can make my all-conference team, and these are great players. I mean, they are players. Look, Gary Joe Kinney, Quinn Grovey, Kimball Anders from Houston, Donald Hollis, what a year he's had. Mike Romo, he's one of the most courageous players you've ever seen. And there, Ken Hackenmack, the 6'10" defensive tackle. Sullivan, Darren Lewis, and Tracy Saul. Those are ones that need to be mentioned, and they will be mentioned on a lot of teams. But unfortunately, they didn't make my team. But I wouldn't mind having them, Dave.
We'll see who made your team coming up at halftime. 8:08 to go till then. Big yardage. Adrian Walker, first down. 11 on the pickup out across the 35. Francis on the tackle along with Blackman. Boy, the Horns do well when they recruit running backs from Tyler. Walker with the chance this week and next against A&M to eclipse the freshman rushing record of 928 yards that Earl Campbell put on the books back in 1974.
Walker has become so familiar with this offense. He's getting more repetitions. He's getting more plays. And he's answering with great rushing games.
So they try him again. It's time to cut back. And blasted by Garrett Long. But again, a good job finding something where it originally looked like there was nothing.
He scooted over there and slipped on that turf and came back and still picked up some plus yardage. On a misplay, he picks up 4 yards.
Mike Welch from free safety also helping on the stop. After a pickup of 5 for Walker. Jones and Kerry Cash. Top of your screen, wide to the right. Walker is to the left. And again, it is Adrian Walker. And one-on-one, not many are going to get out of James Francis's grasp.
Francis just kind of slings him down. Now watch Francis on this play. Plays off the blocker right there. He plays off the blocker, sheds him, carries him. Now don't come forward, throw him right down the line, just kind of slings him out of bounds. I'll tell you one thing. Mike Singletary may have been a great linebacker at Baylor. I will give you credit for that. And Grant Taft said there's only been one of them. But if James Francis is not in that class, then there's no justice in Grant's selection.
Well, the distinction he makes is Singletary was self-made because of his own intensity, and only this year did Francis learn what intensity could do with his own God-given athletic ability. Forbes flushed out, and we'll see where they mark him. And again, it looks like a spot where he might be inches shy of a first down yardage.
Now, just as we talk about James Francis, he makes James Francis miss. This is something you don't see very often. Watch Francis. Francis actually misses right here. Doesn't wrap him up, and you can see now. See, he did. He truly went out of bounds, I think, before the flag. You've got to look down at that flag, and I think he came up probably about a foot shy of it. They may go for it.
They are going to go for it.
Well, I think they have to do something to generate here. Well,
before they go for it on 4th and a foot or so. Forbes wants timeout with 6 minutes and 14 seconds to play in the first half. Texas needing something, so they're ready to gamble at their own end of the field, trailing 17-0 in Austin. Horns talking about going for it on 4th down and less than 1 at their own 45-yard line. But one thing you have to watch for is whether Forbes will come to the line, Dave, and just try and draw him off sides.
Absolutely. Use that voice inflection, go on a longer count, see if you can maybe get him to jump offside.
Adrian Walker did not appear to get it.
Well, that play certainly didn't fool the middle of the Baylor defensive line. They're running off the field already. They know it. This Hafford running off. Watch right in the center right here. You can see the crunch right there. There's no place to go. Just try to go up and over. And there's number 42. And that's Gary Joe Kinney in there, I believe. They bring him down short. And oh, boy, what great field position for Baylor. They're going to start this drive on Texas' 45-yard line, inside the 45.
Talk about a momentum killer, too. When you're trying to get it to go your way, you gamble in your own end of the field, and you end up just cementing that defensive confidence the Bears already had. Mims off the initial hit by Hackamack, spinning for 1.
Well, I think Texas has played pretty solid defense, and I think that's what David McWilliams is trying to do. He's trying to find some way to motivate his team, something that'll get him some momentum. And now he's going to call upon this Texas defense. He's saying, guys, you got to do it again for us until we get our offense untracked.
Grant Taft came in this week and he said, believe me, we're going to need more than 3 points to win in Austin. They lost at home to Rice 6-3 with this same type of defensive effort last week. The difference is, as the flag goes down, whereas Francis had an interception return for a score brought back for clipping last week, Blackman, as you see the mark off against the Bears, has returned 2 for touchdowns that have stood. And
False start. Offense. Still second down.
That's why it is 17-0.
And don't think that Grant Taft doesn't know that you have to capitalize on every opportunity you get. When your defense makes a great stand, you've got to get something. You've got to get 3 points at least, because that puts the momentum back into the Texas hands.
Here comes Patton, and Lovell got it off. Horns want a flag for intentional grounding, but it won't come.
Well, this is not intentional grounding. Actually, he threw the ball, but he threw it as his feet were getting swiped out from underneath him. Watch Patton, 92, just take his feet out, and watch the ball as he's starting to pass. Now, see, he just is getting his feet pulled out, and yes, he throws the ball to the ground, but the qualification there is whether it was intentional or not.
So 3rd down, 14 to go. Bobby Jack Goforth, wide left, cross, wide right, Lovell rolling left. And going deep, intercepted by Todd Ringo, the sophomore from Amarillo.
What an acrobatic catch by Todd Ringo. He caught that ball all the way. He read the quarterback's eyes. He knows he's going to him. He's going to be at the top of your screen. You're going to see him, number 43, come in. Now watch right here. He's coming over from safety spot. Now watch once he intercepts it, to keep that 1 foot. He's got to come down with 1 foot. There's the foot in bounds, and he just hops. Now we'll see it again. See Ringo going back to the corner spot there. Leaps high, comes down. Now you got to get that foot in bounds, and then he goes out of bounds with the 2nd foot. Just an excellent play.
2nd interception of the year, and again that last angle shows how flat Lovell's passes are. Well underthrown that time, and Ringo was right there to take advantage. From their 22, Forbes to the air. Samuels, a good receiver out of the backfield. A junior from Converse Judson up to the 28-yard line, and stopped there by Kinney and Blackman. It's a good year to be from Converse Judson. They're the 2nd-ranked high school team in the nation near San Antonio. Baylor's first turnover, and that's then the biggest reason that they lead, the fact they have those 2 Blackman takeaways.
And I'll say this, if Baylor was able to capitalize on all the opportunities they have, we'd have at least a 28-35 to nothing score, because they have had every break go their way until that last interception.
Forbes again on the money for Samuels. Eludes Welch. Finally brought down by Frank, and he's got a first down at the 37-yard line. A 9-yard pickup.
Well, Dave, the big thing for Texas right now is not to panic, to throw these solid passes. This little slip out in the flat here by Samuels. Just don't panic. You got 17 points down, but there's a lot of time left to score. They have to run their offense. You don't abandon it and just try to throw the deep ones.
I would be impressed by Forbes' accuracy. Reminds you of when Gardere was so hot against Arkansas. They don't have to reach for anything right between the numbers. But this time he's chased, gets it off.
Very pass into fair territory for 18 more.
And let me tell you, Donovan Forbes is getting that confidence. That time he had a chance to flush. He was flushed out of the pocket. He knows there's backside pressure, but he knows he's going to get hit, but he just takes that calmness and finds this wide receiver Cash across the middle. So he hasn't abandoned the game plan. Maybe David McWilliams knew something. Maybe he said, hey, we need some momentum and our defense will keep us in.
Forbes now 6 of 8 through the air, 74 yards, and again is chased. And Hannah Dotson behind him. Now Francis, and look at him ramble inside the 30 for 17.
See Forbes when he gets flushed out of the pocket here. He still is going to try to pass the ball. Right in here, he's still trying to look downfield. That's a good sign. Now he knows he can't. Now he puts the ball away and he becomes a runner. Now get down and don't get hurt. Because if they lose him, they're down another quarterback.
They're down to 1, and that would be Mark Murdoch. Best drive of the day for the Horns. And they set up the draw perfectly. Adrian Walker for 7. Down to the 21. The yards all of a sudden, Dave, coming in big chunks.
Well, it's really a compliment to the coaching staff of this Texas University team because they didn't panic when they were 17 points down. They got so quick, they got down, and now all of a sudden they are coming back. They're running their offense. They're doing well, and it's almost like there's a calmness on this team.
You saw half their first downs for the entire game have come on this drive. 2nd down and 3 as they try to keep it going. Samuels met by James Francis, who was almost in quickly enough to take the handoff himself. Loss of 5 yards here.
You know, when you know he's such a great player, you wonder, how do you let him go through? You can just see he comes through untouched, avoids the tackle, goes over top. He's a sellout player, just goes all out all the time, and that adds to the number of tackles that he's had behind the line. This year he's had 10. He's had 26 tackles behind the line like that in his career.
We'll see if it's a drive killer. 3rd and 8. And he's coming again. Forbes got it off. 14-yard line and a first down.
And I think Robert Blackman wanted pass interference on that play. He's not going to get it. The play is going to stand, but I think Blackman wanted a push off. Let's see if Blackman does get pushed off. It's right there. Now see what happens. Boom. There's the contact. You can see it's great look in by Cash. He just makes a good play. And you see there Blackman saying, wait a minute, he pushed me off, but he doesn't get it.
Incidental contact.
Absolutely. That wasn't pass interference.
George trying to get the momentum going into the halftime locker room. Into the end zone. No, intercepted. James Francis. Intended for Johnny Walker. James Francis shows why he may be the best linebacker in the United States.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. He plays like he's an offensive receiver, which he was in high school. He was a tight end in high school, and they said he could have been a great offensive player. Watch him. He's just playing center field. Watch him back at the quarterback. That ball just goes into his hands just like a vacuum. And then look at the yardage he picks up here. He's a good runner once he gets the ball. Ball's down, of course. It's not a fumble. Oh, boy, what a day for James Francis and Robert Blackman. I think we've called their names all day long, and we're still in the first half.
Hey, Chris, happy birthday.
Used to catch what was that?
Happy birthday.
Francis used to catch Ed Lovell's pass inside of Lamar Kyle. Gilstrap against, no doubt, a stunned Texas defense out to the 27-yard line as we tick down near a minute to go. Talk about your momentum changes again. That means that as Michigan continues to lead Ohio State, that means that Texas can't go into the locker room, barring a big miracle here, within 10 points and with all the momentum.
Well, what they want to do right now, what Baylor wants to do is just sit on the ball. Be content if something breaks, yes, take advantage of it, but just run the ball and go in the locker room with a 17-point halftime lead.
Gilstrap again. And we are down to 30 seconds. So Baylor using the defense as the offense. On top 17-0 on 2 interception returns for touchdowns by Robert Blackman. And the interception by Francis to save a possible Texas touchdown.
And you see what Grant Taft is doing there. He's saying, look up at the 25-second clock. He's saying, don't worry about it. We've got 3rd down and 1. We've got 2 downs. Let it run down. They're just content. And he's got to be excited because this is the best offensive showing that he's had in some time. They just have not been consistent, but what a defensive showing also.
Hard to separate the two, the defense and the offense for Baylor. They've been the same thing, and at halftime, the Bears 17, the Longhorns nothing. Today's game is brought to you by Jefferson Pilot Life Insurance Company, by British Airways, by Citgo, by Option Gray Coverage for Men, and by Schlitz Malt Liquor. It's halftime, and we'll return after these messages from your local stations. This is the Raycom Sports and Entertainment Network. We're at halftime. All season long, we have conducted our contest to give away round-trip tickets for 2 to London, England as part of the 1989 British Airways Southwest Conference Football Vacation Giveaway. And we have Kevin Burns, account manager for British Airways, the world's favorite airlines, to make our presentation to the winner.
Thank you. British Airways is proud of its association with Southwest Conference Football and pleased to announce the winner of this year's British Airways Southwest Conference Football Giveaway. Congratulations to Mr. Mark Wetzel for winning 2 round-trip tickets on British Airways and hotel accommodations for 5 days and 4 nights in England. Congratulations, Mark.
Kevin, thanks again. I'm looking forward to taking part in the trip, and thank all the employees of British Airways and Raycom Sports for making this possible.
Thank you.
17-0 Baylor at Texas, where they haven't won since 1951. They have been dominant on the defensive end. That's why they have that 17-0 lead as we welcome you back to Memorial Stadium. Dave Barnett along with Dave Rowe. Unbelievable what the defense has done for Baylor, but it's time to check our Dave Rowe All-Southwest Conference offensive team.
And it was a fun team to pick. A lot of great players, and I really enjoyed picking them.
Well, let's take a look, and we will begin with the offensive line, the All-Southwest Conference pick of Dave Rowe.
Well, Dave, let's take a look at the Southwest Conference offensive line that I've chosen. Joey Baines, Ed Cunningham, Jim Mabry, Richmond Webb, who only allowed 2 quarterback pressures and 1 sack this year. But the person I like is Charles Odiorn. I think he's the biggest reason for the surprise team in the Southwest Conference, the Texas Tech Red Raiders. He opened holes all year long for the great running back James Gray. The receivers, Manny Hazard of Houston, Johnny Walker of Texas, Billy Winston, a tight end from Arkansas. What a season, though, Eric Henley had for Rice. 80 catches so far this season, and he's just a sophomore. Running backs, a lot to choose from. Chuck Weatherspoon from Houston with a 9-yard average per carry. But James Gray of Texas Tech, 50 career touchdowns, 4 games this year over 200 yards rushing. At quarterback, not a very hard decision here, Andre Ware. I think he'll win the Heisman Trophy. 40 touchdown passes, and he will have over 4,000 yards passing when he finishes the season. The kicker, a lot of pressure on Todd Wright from Arkansas. He replaced an All-American this season, and he certainly had an All-American season himself.
That team could roll up some points. Now, as a former defensive player, was it easier to pick the all-defensive team?
Oh, no. I'll tell you, again, a lot of great choices. We talked about the noteworthy 9 that didn't make it. A lot of them were defensive players, but I had a lot of fun picking them.
All right, well, let's begin with the defensive line selections. Again, Dave Rowe with all conference picks for 89.
Well, the defensive line is my favorite position. We've watched Roosevelt Collins pressure quarterbacks all year. Charles Perry has just played solid defense up front. Craig Veazey's put a lot of pressure on quarterbacks. And Michael Shepard of Arkansas is probably the big reason why Arkansas has done so well this season. The linebackers, preseason All-American Aaron Wallace has played well, but William Thomas may have played better for A&M. But the leader of this group is James Francis. 8 blocked kicks, interceptions, safeties. He's made tackles all over the place. The defensive backs are led by Cornelius Price, Mickey Washington, and Patrick Williams, but Robert Blackman is the real leader on this team. 5 interceptions. He'll be a first-team All-American choice. Watch this hit on Jamie Gill. The punter, an easy choice here. He leads the Southwest Conference over 3 yards a kick more than his competition. Pete Rutter of Baylor averaging 44.6 yards.
Here's the defensive team. Now, individually, I think it had to be a little bit easier to name the players of the year.
Well, there weren't a whole lot of surprises on this, but I did have some good players to choose from. One that's pretty significant today.
All right, offensive, defensive players of the year, coach of the year, and unsung hero for 1989.
My outstanding offensive player is Andre Ware. He has 21 more touchdown passes than any other quarterback in Southwest Conference history. The outstanding defensive player, James Francis, 115 tackles, 8 block kicks, 3 interceptions. He's Mr. Everything. And for Coach of the Year, maybe Coach in the Nation, Spike Dykes of Texas Tech, a chance at a bowl game and a shot at 9 wins. My unsung hero, Mitch Gleber, for sticking it out at SMU. 2 years he didn't get a chance to play. This year he's been honored not only on the field, but for his outstanding contributions in the classroom.
It's going to be fun to look back, I think, in a few years and see how many first-round picks came from that group.
Well, there may be 2 of them today. I see Robert Blackman's playing extremely well, and James Francis, he's definitely a #1 pick.
All right, there you have it, 1989 All-Southwest Conference selections by Dave Rowe. And time to check on the Phillips 66 Top 10 report today. The big one later on at the Orange Bowl. #1 Notre Dame trying to go 12-0 into their Orange Bowl showdown on New Year's night against Colorado, but Miami also with outside hopes for a national championship.
Of course, Colorado is idle. They finished up 11-0.
Michigan still leading 14-6, still third quarter at Ann Arbor. Alabama and Auburn next week for the SEC championship, with Tennessee also hoping to get the Sugar Bowl bid. Idle December 2nd will be Florida State against Florida. #5 team in the nation, the Seminoles. #6 Nebraska is done for the year, and they'll play in the Fiesta Bowl.
Then you've got, there's your Tennessee and Kentucky. That's going to be later on today. That's 8th-ranked Tennessee. Arkansas, the big winner yesterday, 23-22 over Texas A&M.
And that is today's Phillips 66 Top 10 report. Baylor 17, Texas nothing here at Memorial Stadium in Austin at halftime. The All-Americans, the seniors playing their last game for Baylor, Robert Blackman and James Francis have found a way to go out in style today.
Style. I think Raycom Sports is showcasing both Robert Blackman and James Francis. This is Robert Blackman's first touchdown catch. Now notice Robert Blackman is a defensive player. Here goes Robert Blackman. He's in for 6 points. Now if that's not enough, we're going to showcase him again. Let's just take an instant replay on a sideline pattern. A long pass. Donovan Forbes trying to go across the field. And again, Robert Blackman playing that defensive close coverage, intercepts in right down the sidelines, and he scores 12 of the first half points.
A 20-yarder followed by this 35-yarder, and then the Horns drove it down. Looked like they might get within 10 going into halftime, but James Francis had something to say.
Oh, boy, does he ever. Puts that ball down, catches it right on the goal line, heads upfield, avoids 2 or 3 tackles, runs kind of like he's a wide receiver or tight end, which he was, we talked about in high school, and I think their defense has been just so dominant in this first half.
We're at halftime. Baylor on top of Texas by 17. Our Budweiser halftime stats, 17 points with 3 first downs, so obviously the defense is to be credited, and more than double the total yards for Texas compared to Baylor, but 4 turnovers have sabotaged their offensive plans.
Well, they certainly did. They were trying to get that momentum-type drive at the last there, and they threw that interception. And I'll tell you one thing, they just have not got anything going. They have had a real soul-searching at halftime in there.
Forbes was 7-10, but 2 interceptions cost him. And it's 17-0 Baylor. That's today's Budweiser halftime stats. Today's game is brought to you by Coors Light. By the new Schick Slim Twin Razor System. By the Phillips 66 Company. And by Jefferson Pilot Life Insurance Company. 17-0 here, and don't forget to join Bob Ortigal and me January 6th as Raycom Sports and Entertainment tips off the 1990 GTE SWC basketball season. The number 9 rated Arkansas Razorbacks will take on the Texas Tech Red Raiders January 6th on Raycom Sports and Entertainment. Peter Gardere warming up along with Donovan Forbes. Of course, we have yet to see whether that means Gardere will try to go again in the second half after a very ineffective start in the first quarter. He threw that first Blackman interception for a touchdown. Gardere then replaced by Forbes, who didn't do badly except for the 2 interceptions he threw, which really cost the Horns 14. The 7 they didn't get when Francis got the pick, and the 7 that Blackman provided on his second interception.
And I'll tell you this, if Gardere comes in and throws, he's going to get my vote of confidence for the year, because it's extremely difficult for a quarterback to come out and not do well. He just loses his momentum, sits down for the entire half, and then try to come back in the second half.
Jeff Ireland will kick with a breeze behind him that's gotten stronger as the afternoon has progressed. This has got to be at least 20 miles an hour now. He'll kick to Adrian Walker or Chris Samuels. And lofts it up. Samuels back 5 yards. He's going to try it. And with a cutback, a flag down. Look for a clip against Texas as Samuels is tackled at the 23-yard line.
Well, I don't know that that's a wise decision. You see, you automatically get it out at the 20, and you say, well, maybe you can break it. Everybody's looking to contribute something, and you're going to see that it's going to be that compounded, because that clip happened on about the 14-yard line. You see it there, the flag in the background. That's the point of the foul.
Our referee is Joe Thomas.
Flipping on the run back. First down.
Well, it will be Donovan Forbes starting the third quarter, to no surprise. Really was the only spark that the offense had, with the exception of the interceptions. Back to the Texas must. They certainly haven't done the first.
Well, they haven't contained James Francis, not at all. Pressure Ed Lovell, they've done a pretty good job of that, because the defense has scored. Play with pride. And I'll tell you right now, they've had a tough first half. They really have. They're fortunate not to be down by more points than this.
Adrian Walker with a quick first out across the 10, 5 yards to the 13, and tackled there by Reggie Howard, the junior from Plano. Back to the Baylor must. What we said before this one, they seem very well to have forgotten to done right.
Well, they forgot about it because they know that this is the end of their season. They've known it all week. Open up on offense. Well, they haven't opened up on offense, but they have been able to stop Adrian Walker. But the defense is just, that is the surprise. I mean, to just have total dominance by that defense in secondary.
Walker, 12 carries, 36 yards in the first half, and pops it up. Baylor with the recovery. Inside the 10, it was Reggie Howard. And this looked like an unforced fumble by Walker.
He just dropped the ball, and Reggie Howard comes up with it. This is amazing. He doesn't even get hit. Watch this. You're going to see him. He just doesn't put he gets the ball clean. Now when he goes to switch to the outside arm, you see the way the ball just gets out from his arm. He looked as if he had the ball curled in his left arm, and when he went to switch it to get it to the outside, he just lost control of it. I'll tell you one thing, it just compounds the... Can you imagine what Baylor's going to look like after this game, where they've started their drives? It's just been amazing. There's the story of the game, too. 5 turnovers by Texas.
Texas excellent at not turning it over until the middle of the season. They had 5 turnovers in each of their conference losses. So Lovell from the 8 with to give up the middle, and Gilstrap for a couple down to the 6-yard line. Gilstrap, the starter, with Jeffrey Murray out, broken hand against Rice last week.
I imagine for Grant Taft, who's standing there just saying, why couldn't we have some of this spread out all season long? Because they have lost 3 or 4 games that were just by a play. I think right away at the one, and I believe it was Texas A&M, where they had to clip on the sideline and had to repunt the ball, and then the punt got blocked. He's just had it's been a really frustrating season for him.
Air Force on top of Utah, and Lovell timeout as he surveys second down goal from the 6-yard line. Well, the senior from Lamarck has not had a very consistent, successful Baylor career, and has a chance to go out a winner here in Austin today as we take timeout. Brad Gable's bruised ribs have to feel a little bit better as he has been able to stand in street clothes and watch his team dominate Texas and look to go up by a 24-0 count. It will be second and goal, 6-yard line, and Lovell down the line to Raphael, and he will walk in.
Well, you called it a walk-in. I kind of called it a burst-in. But you were right. He was untouched once he got to the corner. Good block there by Reggie Miller on the outside. I mean, this has got to be the most incredible game that David McWilliams has ever been in, and one of the most incredible games that Grant Taft has ever been in. To have your offense only generate 3 first downs, and now you've got, what, 23 points. You're going to try for 24 points is just incredible.
Ireland misses. Only the second time he's missed a PAT this year, and here's the hole opening up for Raphael.
Not a lot of fake here. It's right down the line, but everybody on Texas gets cut down, and Raphael, using that speed, you can see, just walks in the end zone untouched. Again, he just takes the ball. It's not a fake play. There's nothing to hold the linebackers or the corner, and he just bursts to the end zone and walks in just untouched.
And 21 of the 23 Baylor points as a direct result of Texas turnovers today. 23-0. Back to the history of the matchup. 1951, the last time the Bears won here was 18.
Number 23, Chris Samuels.
Before that, the last time they won was 1938. So you're looking at one victory in 51 years in this stadium in the rivalry.
Let me ask you one quick question that you made a comment about the team after they play Rice. Every team has won after they played Rice.
The very next week. That includes SMU, which beat Connecticut the following week. 9-yard deep. Samuels downs it.
Does that mean that the next time you play, next year, everybody says, hey, we want to play Rice now so we can win next week?
I wouldn't want to interpret, but that's just how it's worked out. This year, we wondered which omen would be stronger, the Texas streak here or the Rice syndrome, and so far it's been in favor of the Bears. Now Ohio State coming back within 2 at Michigan. Penn State with the field goal at Pittsburgh on top, 4th quarter. And Texas now down 23-0, needing their best offensive showing of any half this year. Forbes on a roll. Chase gets it off underneath Kerry Cash, who was the most effective receiver they had in the first half.
And I see Forbes didn't get up very quickly. You see Forbes down on the ground there. He's a little slow to get up. He's a little ginger. And he took a lick when he threw this ball in the tail end of this. He may have to come out and bring in either Gardere or Murdoch. Right there, he got hit. Jones hit him on the tail end of that play.
It's going to be Gardere as they check on Forbes.
Well, if the freshman ever wanted to do something in Texas history that would make history, it would be to lead his team back. That would be just amazing if he's able to do this.
Really became a legend against OU and Arkansas. You just add to it here. On the pitch, Adrian Walker leaping over Frankie Smith and up to the 25-yard line.
You know, the difference, Dave, between a quarterback getting one of those nagging little injuries and a lineman is linemen don't need that fine touch. They're kind of the big bruisers. You can limp a little bit in there. You use other muscles. But with a quarterback, it's kind of like a racehorse. And when he gets nicked, it's really tough for him to be just perfect. He just doesn't have the touch. His shoulder's been bothering him. He separated his shoulder. Not separated, but he injured it early in the season.
Walker got 5. And Barry Cash with a first down grab up to the 35-yard line. 4th catch of the afternoon for the junior tight end.
And I want to tell you, that was the best pass I've seen Gardere throw, because that first couple series he was very ginger. That time he just drilled the ball in there. Hey, this young man may come back to surprise you, and he took a lick after the ball was thrown too by his own lineman getting thrown back into him. That's Stan Thomas. That was the best pass I've seen him throw.
Cash wide left along with Jones. Walker is to the right, and Adrian Walker. Thomas a good clearing block, but up came Daniel Morgan to drop him at the line of scrimmage. Morgan, the backup weed side linebacker, junior from Corsicana. They're still working on forwards. And it may be only that he had the wind knocked out of him. And if Gardere throws like he did in the previous pass to Cash, they may just have to keep him in.
Here comes almost a definite passing situation. 2nd and 10. We'll see what Gardere does here.
Great drop with the blitz coming. Kenny with the sack back at the 25. The senior from North Mesquite barreling right down on Gardere.
And watch this little loop. It's a stunt in the line. You see the defensive lineman takes him right there, and around the corner comes Kenny. Gary Joe Kenny comes around and gets a sack. That's a stunt between the defensive tackle and the middle linebacker. The defensive tackle comes up and occupies both the center and the guard, and then the linebacker loops around him and runs right up the gut and sacks Gardere.
So a familiar situation for the Texas offense. 3rd and long. They need to get across the 44-yard line, and they keep it on the ground, and it fools no one. Least of all, Reggie Howard, who is all over Neal, who carries. Make it Edie. They got 2 number 34s listed, and it's Andre Edie who got his first carry of the year.
The Baylor team is sitting over there thinking, you know, our defense played this well all year long. Imagine what we could have been had we had the consistency on offense.
Other offense has done virtually nothing today. Needed to. Will Jadal, a very short wobbler. And then the Texas roll, and it'll end up inside the 35. 39 yards even with the roll by Bobby Liljadal. 10:33, 3rd quarter, 23-0 Baylor. 23-0. Mark Murdoch warming up Peter Gardere.
I don't think Murdoch is really warming up. I think he's more warming up Gardere, don't you think, Dave? Because Murdoch doesn't have his helmet on.
And Gardere does. Ed Lovell with the give. Raphael with the burst, and Stanley Richard prevents a possible touchdown after 16 yards into Texas territory. Don't forget, Dave and I will select the Coors Player of the Game at the conclusion of today's telecast. Stay with us for that.
This is just a burst. They're controlling the line. Good block there. Gosh, there was a good block there by Monty Jones, number 59, to open that hole. He actually picked up not only his defensive tackle, Patton, but he screened off Brian Jones also.
So the Bears from midfield. Again, a huge hole there. Gilstrap, another first down. 12 yards, spinning to the 38. Richard and Lance Gunn hit him there. Gilstrap's final game, he's a senior. Raphael will be back. He is only a junior. And the spark that the Baylor offensive line showing is the opposite of a sagging Texas defense now.
Well, now's when you call them those big linemen. It's fun time for the offensive linemen, because they know they're going to get those big blocks. They know they're going to run the ball.
On the draw, they're all over Raphael this time. He may have lost one. Boone Powell, a sophomore from Duncanville. Shane Brunette, first time we called his name, the freshman from Orange, who was so spectacular last week.
Yeah, boy, last week he really did play well. Brunette had 6 tackles last week. He had a sack. He had an interception for a touchdown. Got called back. He really came on and played well. Just a freshman.
Brunette, number 81 on the left defensive end. Raphael again for nothing. Lance Dunn came up from safety and upset him. Let's pause briefly for station identification. This is the Raycom Sports and Entertainment Network.
This is Fox, KJTV 34.
Dave Barnett with Dave Rowe. We're at Memorial Stadium in Austin. Baylor, because of their defense, on top of the Longhorns 23-0, trying to end decades of frustration in this stadium.
Well, do you think Grant Taft ate a worm at the beginning of the game?
David McWilliams may have eaten one at halftime. 3rd and 11, and you saw the quick movement. Todd Hunt, the left defensive tackle, freshman from Richardson Pierce.
And that's just lack of concentration. That's when you're losing your concentration in there, because those defensive linemen are taught to look at the ball. There's the offside signal. And you are taught to look at the ball, and you do not go on sound, and it's just a lack of concentration.
Do you ever key on a center's fingers and have him fake you out by squeezing the ball but not snapping
absolutely, absolutely. There's a lot of little tricks in there. Just a little slight little nudge of the ball will draw you offside. But there's an official who stands right back there, and he's looking at that. He looks through the center to see if he in fact does move that ball.
Lovell away from Dronette. Now has David Mims chased out of bounds by Brian Jones. Baylor first down and a flag on the late hit.
Boy, this just compounds it, but I don't know that really Brian Jones knew exactly where he was. He was following. Mims was still running as he went out of bounds, and I think Brian Jones, he didn't do anything, bad. You look at this and you think right away that it's some type of like a late hit. Now, he may have gotten a face mask. No, that's not a face mask. But Mims was still running down the sideline. Jones was still trying to catch him. They call it a dead ball foul, tackled out of bounds, and it compounds Texas's woes today.
That's just the second completion by Ed Lovell in his 10th attempt.
The first thing comes to mind, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there saying, how long has it been since since Texas has been shut out? It's been a long, long time.
It's been 9 years almost exactly. They were shut out by the Baylor Southwest Conference Championship team, led by Mike Singletary in 1980, 16-0 in Waco.
How'd you come up with that so quick?
I was there.
Oh, okay. You're just a little kid.
The end zone at Baylor Stadium. And there were some very similar aspects of that game because the Texas offense had as much trouble moving against that Bear defense as they're having today. That was a Texas team that was as high as number 2 in the nation at one point and then really sagged as Baylor came on. Probably Grant Taft's best overall team. They were 10-1. Their only loss was to San Jose State of all people until Alabama rolled over them in the Cotton Bowl. Well, they're still trying to decide where to mark this. And what would they be discussing?
Well, I think what they're doing is take where the actual infraction happened. Where did he go out of bounds?
This is a major penalty. It'll be a first down.
See, the point of the infraction happens at where he went out of bounds. And I think he ran out of bounds about 4 or 5 yards, and when they threw the flag, they came in from that spot. But that's not the spot where the infraction is marched off from.
Michigan adding a touchdown. Penn State still up. Indiana 11-3, and Illinois rolling early over Northwestern. Michigan State also up second quarter over Wisconsin. First and goal, 8-yard line. Lovell just got it off and way over his intended receiver, Alonzo Pierce, number 88, the tight end. Boone Powell put on the pressure. Other scores on our Dr. Pepper Roundup. Minnesota up 10-0 over Iowa first half. Air Force may be bound for the Liberty Bowl in Memphis here on Raycom, up over Utah in the second quarter. And Mississippi also probably headed to the Liberty Bowl. They're underway against Mississippi State. That's December 29th, by the way, from the Liberty Bowl in Memphis. David Mims cuts back, slips inside, and scores.
Oh, the big mark was, where was his knee down? Did he in fact stretch out there? Was the ball down? I thought they might mark it short, but they signaled touchdown. But he did. You talked about stretched. He stretched all the way out in the end zone.
Second touchdown of the year for the Dangerfield freshman. Their third leading rusher coming in. And 29-0 Bears. We've still got more than half the third quarter to go at a stunned, silent Memorial Stadium. 8 minutes and 29 seconds.
I think you said a key word there. I mean, everybody is stunned. Even Bevo sitting in the end zone is stunned. Hasn't even moved.
I think Judge is stunned. Richard almost blocked it, but it goes for Jeff Ireland.
Yeah, maybe we can see this again as we watch this run. Let's see where the ball is when his knee goes down. I thought his knee went down right in here. See, I thought his knee was right there. That's where I thought his knee was down.
1.5 yard lines where it should have been marked down.
Oh, boy. Now, that ball would have been on at least a 1.5, maybe 2. Let's watch his knee, and let's see if we can stop it right where his knee goes down and see where the ball exactly is. Now, it's a great run. There's nothing wrong with the run. But right in there, the ball's down right there, and you can see it's clearly a yard or 2 from the end zone.
But the side judge never hesitated. Baylor adds to their mounting margin over the Horns. 30-0 Baylor. David Mims touchdown, adding to the celebratory atmosphere on the Bear bench and the woes of Texas. With 8:29 to go in the third quarter. I may have said the 29th, the 28th of December, by the way, is a telecast of the Liberty Bowl for Memphis. And it's been impossible for Chris Samuels to get anything to run back. Ireland kicking mostly with the wind today. And Gardere is ready to come back in after Forbes apparently got the wind knocked out. He came to the sideline and has not been seen since.
Well, there's a 7-play drive, 66 yards. Only took 2 minutes. With Mims going across on a... Well, he made it about 6 yards, but they counted it as an 8-yard touchdown run. So that's a tough one, because especially if you're a defensive player out there, you know, you try to grasp onto anything.
Lamell Foreman carries for the second time. The true freshman, blue chip from Del City, Oklahoma, goes for a couple. They expected to redshirt him until the Arkansas game. He came in at a 25-yard burst, which is still his best of the year, and Robert Blackman brought him down. Horns are going with new wideouts for Gardere to look to. Kerry Cash, still the tight end, but Keith Cash right there, number 11, goes to the right of your screen. And Curtis Govan, the senior from Eastland, is wide left. Give again to Foreman. Room up the middle. Again met by Blackman. He may have a first down. Marcus Lowe also was there for the collision, but he appeared to get the 8 he needed, and it is a first down for the Steers.
You know, it's amazing when you stop and look at our charts as we look at the scoreboard clicking down. I mean, the time clock clicking down. How many freshmen have played a vital role in this Texas team? They have a lot of freshmen that are going to be back next year. A lot of experienced players.
All 3 of their fullbacks in the 3 deep that we had before this game are freshmen, as Lamell goes again, and Foreman spun down after a couple up to the 32. I'm talking about Winfred Tubbs, Jason Burleson, and Bubba Smith. Andre Eady is the fullback right now, number 34, and then at the tailback spot, both Adrian Walker and Lamell Foreman. Gardere, of course, at quarterback, a freshman. Derek Duke has had some big catches. We haven't seen him yet today at the wideout.
And they've got one of their deep offensive linemen, Jeff Boyd, who started for him this season. He's a freshman too, so they've got a lot of hope.
Adrian Walker back in just in time to get nailed behind the line by Darren Franklin. Another Bear in his final game on a Dallas Kimball. 9th tackle for a loss by Franklin this year.
Boy, this is just flying off the ball. Don't worry about anything. He almost takes the hand off. That's how far in the backfield he was. Dropped him for about a 3-yard loss.
Going to bring up 3rd and long. They need a long 11. And Gardere over the middle of Scott Govan, and he's going to be well short of the first. Brought down at the 36-yard line. So the Texas punting situation again. Fans not liking it. Taking it 30-0. What does field position mean anymore?
Yeah.
Why not go for it?
Well, you'll always have to look at that in the scoreboard. If you don't punt away, the sensible thing to do is you play football the right way, and the sensible thing to do is to punt the ball away.
Francis not able to get close on that Lil-Zadol punt, and here goes Frank. Trying to turn it up the sideline into Longhorn territory.
This may be a net 3-yard punt. If my math is right, they kicked it from the 36-yard line, their own 36-yard line, and if where Frank came down with the ball, this is a short net punt. Net is the difference when you subtract the return from what the punt was, and look where Frank comes down with the ball. He's out of bounds. Wow.
33-yard punt, 23-yard return, net of 10. 7 minutes to go at Ann Arbor. Ohio State within 3. Michigan hoping for a Rose Bowl berth, as are the Buckeyes. And if Texas loses here, that cements the Cotton Bowl berth for the Arkansas Razorbacks. David Mims, fresh off 1 touchdown, may have another. Nope, chased out of the 14.
That's surprising. And I'm sure Grant Taft will say something to him there. You don't run out of bounds. Oh, look at there. Wait a minute. Let me correct that. He pulled a hamstring. Let me correct it. I didn't think he would run out of bounds. He's too good a player to run out of bounds. But what he does is on the end of this run, and watch this, it's a misdirection, a counter. They start one way, comes back. Watch the tail end of this. I was surprised to see Mims run out of bounds, but right in here he gets a twinge or something. Something in the hamstring area and limped over to the sideline. Don't be so fast to criticize, Dave Rowe.
Reggie Miller went in motion, and Raphael at the 15 hit hard by Mark Berry. Much improved in his sophomore season at cornerback.
I want to tell you, I was just surprised to see Mims run out of bounds because he's not that kind of player. He's one of them put your head down, blast it up through there. I know he's only a freshman, and he's pretty small as far as stature. 5'9", 176 pounds, but he is a tough individual.
John Turnpaw leaving for Baylor. The big 330-pound left guard.
And he's just a sophomore. He'll be back for many years here on this Baylor team. 6'2", 230, and what a drive blocker he is. Very hard worker out there.
As Mims gets some attention on that hamstring. Gilstrap, slot right. Raphael, the tailback on 2nd down. And a long 10, and here goes Eldwin Raphael. Knocked out inside the 10 on a nice hit by Van Malone, the freshman from Houston Waltrip. We talked about the freshman on offense. Dave, it's almost the same situation on defense, where they had only 2 senior starters today, and those were the only 2 seniors on their 2 deep defensively. Raphael, a nice day working. The team had a total only 59 rushing yards in the first half. Raphael spinning off the original contact by Gunn, and then finished off by Boone Powell. Ryan Jones also in on the stop.
Well, when you think they're going in the middle, this is what Texas thinks. They're going in the middle, and they really crunched it in the middle. Good tackle there by Brian Jones, getting the head up, just turned them back. If they pulled that ball down and had gone outside, they'd have picked up yardage.
And you saw the swarming there that used to be a trademark of this Texas defense 10 years ago, 8 years ago, when they were yearly one of the top 2 or 3 in the country. You'd see gang tackling almost every play as they worked on the left hand of John Turnpaw.
They're going to retape his left hand. That's what they're doing there. They took off the tape or glove that he wears.
Ireland from 24 yards adds 3 more, and it's 33-0 Bears. 4 minutes and 12 seconds, 3rd quarter, in a historic rout for the Bears. Jeff Ireland's 24-yard field goal makes it 33-0 Baylor. 4:12 to go, third quarter.
Number 14.
And once again, Adrian Walker and Chris Samuels hoping to get a return off. Ireland's right instep's going to be sore. They have to ice him down after this game.
And this kickoff coverage team, too, because they have run down every time, just wide open.
Only 3 yards deep this time. Boy, did you see Lachey Maston do a cartwheel at the 10-yard line as Samuels reached the 20. Good heavens.
That's what you call the wedge buster. Watch Maston on this. Watch right in the middle of your screen. You're going to see number 6. He's going over top of the wedge. I'll tell you one thing. He's lucky he didn't hurt himself because he completely flipped over top of the wedge and came down kind of on his shoulder. That's what you call the old wedge buster.
Yeah, absolutely nothing to do with the tackle, but it was fun to watch. Jones and Johnny Walker back in. They both go wide right. And on the reverse, Tony Jones did not fool John Godfrey. Now here comes the block. And Jones may get something out of this after all. He does. 6 yards.
I want to tell you who threw a good block. Gardere threw a good block. You don't often look at a quarterback getting a chance to throw a block. But this reverse fools nobody because they have perfectly defensive with backside containment. See how they force Jones deep? Now watch Gardere come back right here. Bam, there he is. He gets that block. Jones, with that great speed that he has, is able to set up a couple blocks there and pick up plus yardage on what could have been just a disaster run.
Charles Cephas and Johnny Walker also with key blocks that time. Yeah, that was almost a loss of 10 or 12 yards. And he ran a long way to net 6. Samuel, first down, 35, dropped it.
He fumbled it. Oh, boy.
And we wait for the official indication. The Bears think they know where it's headed, and they're right. James Francis gets the recovery.
Well, Mr. Everything in the Southwest Conference as a defensive player. What a day he's had. The right man in the right time. He just drops the ball. The ball looked as if it just fell out of his hands, much like it did the last time. He wasn't down. You can see there, Francis was just on the ground. The ball, as he was going down, it looks like he just, again, loses concentration and just drops the ball, much like he did on that one little pitch.
And there's the story of the game.
Oh, boy.
Third fumble recovery of the year by Francis. Baylor, Texas, 34-yard line, running their own reverse to Reggie Miller, and a wipeout block springing him inside the 30. The block thrown by Terry Gray, the left tackle.
Number 9, Mark Berry.
And Miller, a long career ahead of him, just a freshman out of Waco. At the 27-yard line here.
Now watch, this is a long working reverse, but watch Terry Gray come back here. He picks up right there, gets a good block. It's a good high block. Again, it's not the one where you try to get down low and may cause an injury. It's a high block up in the chest.
It was on Bo Robinson, so Berry chased him out. Gain of 7. Raphael turned back by Richard. Did not get the first.
I'll tell you, if you stay in coaching long enough, and I know David McWilliams has been in a long time, as has Grant Taft, you get one of these days when everything goes wrong. I can think back in my own career, and like I say, if you play this game long enough, you're going to see games like this. But this is the kind of afternoon that you just hope that you just don't have to put up with. You can see David McWilliams is just saying, just keep on ticking, clock, because we're just not getting any breaks. And Grant is over there saying, this is one of the most wonderful games I've ever been through.
Lovell on the fake. Again, looked like he didn't get the first, but a flag is down late after another Stanley Richard tackle.
It's got to be a hold against Baylor. Yep, that's what it is. Boy, and as a coach, now right now you can enjoy him, but I can tell you if this game is 17-14, that just turns the acid in the stomach. Right now you just say, well, if you're Grant Taft, you're a gentleman. You don't want to embarrass any other team. You're just saying, well, just keep the clock going.
Holding. Offense. Still third down.
Taft 7 0-8 in his career against Texas. 0-8 in Austin until today. David McWilliams has never experienced anything like this in this stadium against the Bears. Nor did Fred Akers before him, nor Darrell Royal before him.
You're going to go a long way back. You may get back to Dana Bible.
I may. And that's not a bad idea with 2:38 to go in the third. They need 11 on third down. No flag. Now it comes. Catch made and then knocked away from Raphael as the hit came by Anthony Curl, but we'll see if perhaps James Patton wasn't offsides for Texas.
Well, you can see all day long they've just lacked that concentration on the defensive line. You see there's another signal, excuse me, of offsides. It's just lack of concentration. It's the little things that win football games, and these little things cost you and lose football games.
Third down.
They just have not had the concentration. That's a typical fan reaction. That's the way the Texas fans have watched today's game. I think everybody in the stadium, including me and you, are stunned at the showing by Texas. It's just not a normal showing. We're talking about a team that had a good shot to go to the Cotton Bowl prior to yesterday's game, excuse me.
Yeah, and in 24 hours they go from that to this. Bubble hit by Burnett as he let it fly and broken up by Mark Berry. Intended for Reggie Miller down the sideline.
That was great coverage by Berry. He's considered, David McWilliams says he is the best and the hardest working defensive back he has, one of the hardest working players, and that's just great coverage. He has inside position on him. He's running stride for stride with him. This is when you have to look for those little things that really you pull out and you just say, hey, we can go off of that next year, and he's a worker and he's a good player, and you just got to look for the positive things in the football game.
Ireland's 50-yarder might have been good from 55. This one from 47. And Burnett almost got a hand on it. That one might have been good from 60.
Well, Ireland's done this a lot. You can see the wind there blowing, the velocity of the wind. He got it up in the air. Good hold here again. Nice hold this time, no problem. You can see Ireland he knows immediately it's good.
And so did his holder, Ken Brent, one more angle.
And there's the way that kick comes off, and it goes just straight as an arrow right down the middle. And it certainly was high enough. It was at the top. It was almost at the top of the goalpost when it crossed.
Well, that's as deep as I think we've seen all year. And Taft now up 36-0. Well, the historical angle you brought up, it was Ed Price's first year at Texas, 1951. He had a good team. They went 7-3, but that Baylor win here, 18-6, was one black mark against him, and he is better known as the man who preceded Darrell Royal's debut. Royal onto the scene in 1957 after Price went 1-9 the previous year.
Well, you're just a walking book of factual information here.
When I've got my walking book of factual information. Samuel's not even trying anymore. With good reason.
If that guy takes the ball and runs off with it, we'll be all right. There it is, 4 plays, 4 yards. Of course, the fumble set that up on 1 minute and 28 seconds, which ended in the Ireland's 47-yard field goal. Again, great field position for Baylor all day long. I bet they've started 3/4 of their drives inside the 50-yard line via fumbles, interceptions. They have just had it today.
It's going to be interesting to compare total offense at this point, because Texas moved the ball more consistently really than Baylor, especially first half, but the turnovers wipe out whatever advantage they might have. Tony Jones knocked out of his hands by Malcolm Frank. And they say no reception, no fumble. It'll be 2nd and 10, and Gardere has to pick himself up.
You can see, maybe you can see that right elbow of his. It was swollen. Seeing the point of the elbow? He had some fluid in there, and that's been sore. Also in the upper shoulder. There's the elbow. You see the swelling in there, kind of the roundness of it. And watch this shot that he takes. This doesn't help his shoulder any. Boom, he goes down. Fortunately, it's on his left shoulder. The right shoulder is the one that has been sore for him.
Reggie Howard, the right tackle, put him down. Play action. Chased again. And off time at the 16. The tackle at that point by an unnamed Bear. We don't have him. He's number 34.
An unnamed Bear. Well, he makes a big play. His mom and dad know who he is. He just throws them down out of bounds there. I believe it's Ray.
You know who that may be? Anthony Ray, who was not listed on the roster coming in. He had the 4 knee operations and decided he's done as a running back, and he's a defensive end. He made that decision just a few days ago. Anthony Ray from Horton. Guess what? Robert Blackman's got number 3, but he's 5 yards away from tying Johnny Jackson's NCAA record with his 3rd touchdown interception return.
Boy, when you can sit back there and play like Robert Blackman. You talked about 5 yards away. See him right in the back of your screen here. See him 21 right up there. He's just playing the quarterback. He just crouches down. There's the ball. It's thrown. It looks as if it's thrown right to him. I think it was intended for Walker, but you're right. He comes up 5 yards short of tying the NCAA record. That would have been his 3rd time into the end zone. Now, one thing, he doesn't make the offense drive very far, does he?
The Gardner may say, Coach, Blackman was open.
Yeah. Been open 3 times today. And France has been open twice.
David Mims back in after that hamstring and gets half of what they needed on 1st and goal at the 5. What a day for Robert Blackman, the senior from Van Vleck. Now 8 interceptions for the year and 4 in the last 2 games. He had 1 against Rice last week.
What a day for Robert Blackman.
I'm guessing this is a Texas fan.
I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Mims got 3, 2nd and goal at the 2. Mims again, cuts back. Might not have gotten anything. We was hit at that point by Richard and Bo Robinson, and it'll be 3rd down and goal.
I want to tell you now, just to be honest with you, Texas is not this bad a team. They are not this bad a team. This reminds me of the Notre Dame-Virginia game that we did in the beginning of the season, the kickoff classic, where Virginia just was blown off the map, and everybody said they're terrible. They came back to win 10 football games. Every once in a while, you experience a game like this where everything goes wrong.
And Ray into the end zone for a touchdown. This is a nice scene for a man coming off 4 knee operations.
Now, we just saw him playing on defense. Now we see him. What do you do, change his mind, Dave?
Well, maybe a little from 3 yards out. Anthony Ray, highly recruited running back from Horton, but the injuries have combined to make him a defender until that play. And now it's 42-0. We're still not done in the 3rd quarter. 43, 1:11 to play in the 3rd.
Again, this is Ray. He just takes the ball. It's just a straight handoff. Get behind those big offensive linemen. There's the seam. Jones doesn't make it over quick enough, and he just bursts into the end zone for another 7 points. And let me tell you what it's like to be a defensive player in a game like this. I've been in this situation. You play long enough, like I say, you're going to have it happen. Boy, it's a long day. You can hear that clock tick in your helmet. It's just going bong, 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 and those are seconds going off it.
Chinese water torture. Well, we're going to see Mark Murdoch.
Well, I think it's about time.
Why not? Warming up along with Ford. There's Anthony Ray. Sophomore.
Everybody back in one.
What's he saying? Everybody back where?
Everybody. Love y'all.
Love y'all. I heard that part. I think he's telling everybody back home.
Hey, Ray Cox, number 1.
Oh.
Yes.
You got that part right. How much did we have to get? Well, we couldn't pay him anything, not until he graduates. He got the apple.
Samuel 6 yards deep this time. 1:11 to go. Texas down 43-0. The worst shutout defeat that they have experienced in the last 33 years before today. 1956, as we said at Price's last year, Oklahoma beat them 45-0, and this one is 43-0. That loss helped cement Price's fate. And in the fourth quarter, Michigan still hanging on by 3. Pitt has tied Penn State in the fourth.
And there's Indiana ahead of Purdue.
Gardere remains the quarterback. Adrian Walker remains the tailback. And he was 1 man away from big yardage up the sideline. As it is, he got 13.
Now, we haven't called Santana Dotson's name a lot today, but that was a good example of cross-the-field run by him. He's just one of these sophomores on this Baylor defense as we look at some of the other scores on this Dr. Pepper Roundup. But Dotson, just a sophomore, has made some big plays for this Baylor defensive team. There's so many people that need to be singled out on this defense, and that's what it's been. It hasn't been that Texas has played that poorly. It's just a combination of great defense and poor playing.
Walker playing off Sam Thomas's block to the 34 for only 1, and we're inside of 1 minute in the third quarter. Again, Texas last shut out by Baylor in Waco, 1980, 16-0. Well, you wonder if the Longhorns in another 30 years will ever experience a game like this. I mean, it's almost like Haley's Comet to play like this at home. 104 games is the streak. It's the second longest in conference history. Walker on second down puts his head down into Malcolm Frank, who wrestles him to the turf at the 39, and that may be the last play of the third quarter. Adrian Walker still trying to chase the Earl Campbell freshman rushing record. 20 carries, only 59 yards today. He came in with 739 and needed just about 200.
Hasn't that stat held true about the over 100 yards rushing for Texas? When they rush over 100, they have won every game. When they don't, they've lost every game.
Well, they're going to lose this one. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. This is the Raycom Sports and Entertainment Network. Eventually getting the job that Spike Dykes has, head coach at Texas Tech. He ended up at Baylor, and he is in the process of rewriting their history.
Snyder High School. Well, he's one of the true gentlemen in the Southwest Conference. We've got some great coaches in this conference, and he is truly one of them.
Yeah, and we talked about how Texas isn't this bad. Baylor is not as bad as their 4-6 record would indicate. Maybe not as good as 43-0 over Texas, but today will help solve a lot of their wounds that have built up over the year. Flag down as Johnny Walker makes the catch at the 44. Frank hit him, and we'll see what happened near the line.
I don't know if that's 2 flags or not. I saw one in the line, but I thought that was a flag out at the 50-yard line. Maybe that's just a piece of paper.
Hurry! Offense! Third down.
Yeah, I guess that's just a piece of paper laying there. Looks like a yellow piece of paper.
Our third quarter stats.
And if you're a Texas fan, they should be horrible.
But look at the total yards. Texas still leads by 18, still more first downs. 4 times as many passing yards, but 7 turnovers.
That's the horrible part of it. And really, Baylor has not really, I mean, when you hold a team to 180 yards, you're thinking 6, 7, maybe 10 points at max. You don't think of 43 points with 180 yards?
Gardere rolling against the all-out blitz. Nothing wrong with his legs, and he backs his way up to his 42-yard line. Going to be close for a first down gain. He got 14.
You're right. Gardere has the leg power to get outside. It's good rolling pocket here. He picks up a couple nice blocks and then makes it on his own. There's no ducking out of bounds. He's trying to get every yard that he can to get up for that first down. But I think they're going to be a couple yards short.
And they're booing because the punting team comes on 4th down and 1 at their own 41.
Well, I can just say you don't want to give the team the ball on the 40-yard line.
Yeah, that marker is incorrect. It is not second down.
4th down.
Rosendahl finally with the wind behind him as Frank lets it go, and this one will it be down at the 1. Anthony Curl does get it before it rolled into the end zone.
I thought that the person downing it might have been in the end zone.
Paul Bierman got it first, and then Curl after a 57-yard boomer by Liljedahl, one of the few highlights for the Longhorns on a very long afternoon. 43-0 Baylor. Just started in the fourth quarter. Dave Barnett, Dave Rowe after the Liljedahl 57-yard punt. Baylor, for maybe the first time all day, is backed up near its own end zone. We got a new quarterback, Ricky Vestal, number 12, with the give to Gilstrap, driven back, and they will mark his forward progress at the 2, so no safety despite what the Horn players are asking for.
Well, they did.
No, they say a fumble recovery. Boy, I didn't see that.
Wow, I didn't see that either, and it's the first time we heard the cannon fire. Now, there's a ruling here that if his forward progress is stopped, then that's where you mark the ball, but evidently he gave it up prior. You see there, Gilstrap in there, gets out there. There, the ball comes loose right there.
Well, that's why they were celebrating, and
yes.
Bo Robinson burrows down to the bottom of that pile. From that angle, it looked like he got the recovery, and we may see that Texas scoring streak remain alive.
This has got to be the first break that I can think of, even close to a break for Texas all day long.
From the 2. Adrian Walker cut back, but did he get in?
No way. He didn't get in. They're going to mark it on about the 6-inch line.
Blackman came up along with Keith Caldwell. Most of the first-teamers for the Baylor defense still in the game. That's how far he is.
Well, what they're trying to do is let a lot of their seniors enjoy this. They haven't had a lot of enjoyment this year. There comes Blackman into it also. Boom, and they just turned him around. I'm not sure that he didn't get in. I think the ball being that far back is why he didn't make it penetrate the plane.
On the dive, no question, and the Horns are finally on the board.
David McWilliams looks as if to say, well, what do you want? Because the Baylor defense, as they ran off the field, they were kicking the dirt. They were just upset that they allowed them to score on them.
But it's the same storyline. Put it on the Baylor offense. The defense shouldn't be faulted here.
Exactly.
We see Wayne Clements for the first time today, and he'll attempt his 21st PAT without a miss this year. Liljedahl with the hold, and Clements is good.
This is ground level. This is looking right down the line at the surge. There's no quit on either team. He clearly breaks the plane there. The ball is pulled out. Afterwards, you see the fumble. Once he breaks the plane, there can be no fumble. Now, there's the angle. Now, watch right here. There, he breaks the plane. Right there, he breaks the plane. Now, they're right because the ball does come out. You'll watch the ball come out right there at the tail end when they pull it out right in there. But he had already broken the plane, already had scored the touchdown.
Curtis Hafford tried to force that fumble. It was too late. And it is 43-7 with the Horns on the board. 13:06 to play. Well, there was a dead ball personal foul penalty after the extra point against the Horns, so that's why they backed up the kickoff from their 20-yard line. Now, with their first score on the board on that dive by Adrian Walker, and the streak has hit 105 in a row.
And I'll tell you, Texas is thinking, Baylor is thinking onside kick. Now, this is a critical thing. If you kick an onside kick from your own 20-yard line, you give it to the opponent at about the 30 to 35-yard line. Now, that's almost a sure scoring position.
Well, if they wouldn't go for it from their own 40, I can't see an onside kick from the 20.
Well, that's what Baylor's thinking. They've got to eat guys up.
No such thing. And Trooper Taylor from his 15. Bocce Koch would be proud. 32-yard line on the return by a member of the Koch all-name team, Trooper Taylor, sophomore out of Cuero. Also the hometown, of course, of Brad Gable. And Baylor now with 13 minutes remaining, 1st and 10, their own 34-yard line.
Well, there's a lot of people to thank in this part of the season, and we've had a great season here at Raycom. 6 seasons now we've broadcast the Southwest Conference, so a lot of people to thank, especially the SIDs. I think that all the information that they give us.
Any specifics you have in mind?
Oh, I got some special awards for them.
Do you? Vestal in for his second series. And Raphael with the depleted running back core. Still in there, picks up 4. Dropped by Mark Steed. Now, the SIDs, who would that be?
Well, they're the sports information directors that send us all the information. First one comes to mind, of course, is the one from Rice, Bill Cousins. And I give him the You Climb the Ladder award because every time we go and do a game in Rice, we have to climb a ladder to get into the stadium.
You can't get in any other way.
That's right. So he gets the first award, the You Climb the Ladder award.
Ray, and brought down by Bo Robinson and Jeff Higgins. And the Bears will look at 3rd down and 6 needed. So Anthony Ray's career as a defensive lineman short-lived because he's right back as a running back. And with the touchdown to his credit, our Chick permanent storyline, the turnovers. Everywhere you look, Blackman 3 interceptions, almost 3 touchdowns. He was 5 yards away from his 3rd. And Gardere suffering through a miserable day. And no doubt still affected by the sore shoulder and elbow. First pass by Vestal is complete to Melvin Bonner. And where they mark it, he's got a first down at the 45-yard line. Bonner is a freshman from Van Vleck, the same place that produced Robert Blackman.
Dave, I just wanted to whet your appetite on the all-SID teams.
I'm going to guess more is coming.
Oh, you're going to get some more. Yeah, we got all the SIDs are mentioned on these awards, so I'll just keep you biting at your at the bait to see what happens.
Vestal in the draw play to Ray up the middle 49-yard line. Well, that's a remarkable story you're seeing right there. After 2 knee operations on each side, Anthony Ray apparently may have a future as a running back after all. And of course, next year they also will get Robert Strait, who was redshirted after his knee surgery this year. And if the 2 of them can live up to their high school flipping, that could be an awesome running back tandem.
Well, and they'll still have Eldwin Raphael there also, so they'll have some. David Mims will be in that backfield too.
And Mims is dropped back at the 46. They'll look at 3rd down.
I don't believe we've seen David Loeb either, but he's another one of those freshmen.
Well, we've seen him, but he hadn't carried the ball.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
A couple times, right?
Yeah.
And Vestal will be back. He is out of Houston Cypress Creek. Probably will be the #1 backup to Gable next year. Baylor hadn't done much on 3rd down, but they haven't needed to. This is 8 needed. They chase and can't get him. And Vestal settles for out of bounds at the line of scrimmage. Almost, but not quite, in the sack attempt by James Patton. It is all over. Michigan is headed to the Rose Bowl again. They add a late score and defeat the Ohio State Buckeyes 28-18. And also all over at Pittsburgh, and Penn State wins that battle for supremacy in Pennsylvania by 3. You're remarkably quiet on that. Illinois 42-7, second quarter against Northwestern. Intrastate rivalry, and Rudder against Sales, a beauty. Fair catch by Samuels at the 9. 10:18 to play. 46 yards on the punt by Rudder. 43-7 Baylor. Dave and I will select the Coors player of the game coming up at the conclusion of today's telecast. 43-7 Baylor. And they have backed Gardere and the Horns up at their own 9-yard line. They keep it on the ground. I think they've seen enough of what putting it in the air means against this Baylor defense.
I think I'd keep it on the ground too. Just
eat up the clock, get it over.
Yeah, eat up the clock, because when you're down by 36 points, you've got under 10 minutes to go. It's a long afternoon. There's not much coming back. I've seen miracles happen on the football field, but never one this big.
Francis is still in, and Blackman is still in. Enjoying every moment. Adrian Walker again. Off to the 12. And the tackle there by Gary Hayes, the backup middle linebacker, number 55. Well, Adrian Walker will live to see better days for Texas. This is obviously a very sad conclusion to a decade of struggle, really, when you consider the Texas history coming into the 80s. They were almost invulnerable until this decade, and all of a sudden, they're not quite as hard to beat at home as they used to be. Gardere will go down inside his 5. Santana Dotson finally will get onto the highlight film.
What a highlight dance that they made on the tail end of that. This is just a pocket, just crumbles around them. There's no place to go, no place to step up. And I can tell you, it's a defensive lineman's delight to play in a game like this. You can rush the passer and make them punt it out of their own end zone.
Texas missed by inches again. Liljadal, a boomer to the 39 for Malcolm Frank. Got away from Bierman, but only the 43. 55 yards on the kick by Liljadal. The return is 3, and we'll be back in Austin in a moment. 8:26 to play, and we've got briefly into your all-SID team. Let's continue, shall we?
I've got some great choices here. Of course, I pick out Rick Schaefer and Maxie Parrish, Rick from Arkansas and Maxie from Baylor, and they get the Tom Bodette Motel 6 Award for getting us rooms at the last minute.
And the lights were on.
And they kept the lights on. Of course, from Texas Tech, you got Joe Hornaday and Kelly Robinson as assistant, and his other assistant, Daddy Warbucks, and they get the Entertainer of the Year Award for those great meals at the 50-yard line club. And I'll be back with another one in a minute.
I can't wait. Vestal to Mims, and he got hit right at the line of scrimmage by Michael Padgett, the backup middle linebacker, sophomore from Beaumont Central.
Well, let me touch on a couple more. For SMU, of course, Ed Wisniewski, and Ed is one of those wait till next year awards. He's had the patience and the professionalism to approach this season. It's been a tough season for him. And if you let them run this play, I'll give you a couple more.
Okay, let's do it. Play action for Vestal. Here comes Patton. Got away and hit as he lets it fly. It is caught by Bonner, who backed up almost to midfield and then may have gotten what he needed for the first. He needed the 48-yard line, and where they mark it, he's got it.
Yeah, Vestal just didn't get the trajectory on this ball because he got hit from the backside. Watch how close this ball is to not being completed. Right there, he doesn't get to deliver it all the way, and Bonner had to come back for the ball. He actually had to come back 4 or 5 yards, but he still got enough for the first down.
Anthony Scott was the man who hit Vestal right as he let it go. A lot of second-teamers getting a chance to play for the Longhorns now, and what a hit right at the line of scrimmage by Boone Powell, number 56. Another one of their young defensive standouts, sophomore from Duncanville.
Well, I'm going to quickly touch on a couple more SIDs, and these are the sports information directors. Of course, Ted Nance, he gets the worn-out pencil award. He's had to keep up with Andre Ware's statistics all year. Glenn Stone gets the Executive of the Year award from TCU for hiring the most attractive assistant, Lois Colcourse. And I'll be back with my last 2 in a minute.
You know how to build it up. On the reverse, Reggie Miller chased by Anthony Scott and then tripped up by Jeff Higgins. And we'll see where they mark him down. It'll be about the 44. He got 5.
Well, I've saved the 2 best ones for last. Bill Little, he gets the Yeah, My Daughter Does Go to Texas Tech award because she was the happiest student here at Texas when Texas Tech beat Texas. And then the last one, Alan Cannon of Texas A&M. I'll hold that for just one more play.
3rd down and 6. They need the 38. Vestal over the middle to Mims. Didn't get the first down. He got hit by Padgett about 2 yards shy, and now a flag.
Boy, oh boy. And if that's going to be piling on or spearing, it's just another part of the day. That's Michael Padgett, but the flag looked like it was going to be thrown on. A blow to the head. I think that's what that symbol is. Watch the tail end of this. Mims was down, and he was just stretching. He stumbles here. Now he's down there.
Helmet contact.
Oh, boy.
First down.
No, I don't see that.
He grazed him, but there's no way he tried to hit him with the helmet.
No, I didn't see that at all. Okay, for my last one, let me give you my last one. Alan Cannon is the SID at Texas A&M, and he gets the Tradition Award. You're talking about a university, Texas A&M, that's steeped in tradition, and Alan didn't let us know about the famous Kool-Aid tradition,
which I think just started this year.
Which started at the Texas Tech game, but fortunately our man, Tommy Tate, Scoop Tate, was on the scene to give us poor information in the end zone. And it led to quite a controversy at Texas Tech, which we apologized for. But that's my list of the SIDs. And there's Scoop Tate right there. That was Scoop.
Undeserved on-air time, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Well, Tommy Cheater got the sack of Vestal back at the 30.
But in seriousness, Nate, let me just say one quick thing. We really do appreciate all the work that the SIDs do. They are very professional. They just give us great information and really help us with our preparation.
My second pass. Sack, 34-yard line. Lance Wilson slinging Ricky Vestal to the turf on a 3rd and long. So on 4th down. Well, this will be 3rd down. Just under 5 minutes remaining. The sports information people, totally behind the scenes, unpublicized, are the people who load us up with so much of our information and keep us abreast right up sometimes until seconds before kickoff of things that we really need to know, and they, as you said, do an outstanding job. All-minded. Speed on the rush. Vestal let it go. Look at the open man, and into the end zone goes Mike McKenzie, a freshman from San Antonio Holmes, with his first catch of the year, and it's worth 6 points.
First catch of the year, and it goes, and it's on a 3rd down and what, 17, 18 yards, and they find him wide open over the middle. Nobody within 5 yards of him. Just a break in coverage. Someone missed him coming off the line of scrimmage. And the result,
33 yards on the completion. Vestal to McKenzie, who came out of the same high school that produced the Cash Twins and Johnny Walker for Texas. And Ireland makes it a 50-7 ball game.
There's no one more surprised than McKenzie. Watch how open he is when he catches this ball. There's nobody within 5 yards of him, maybe 10 yards. And he just puts that head down, finds it in his way into the end zone. Again, we may be able to see how wide open. It's just amazing that he's able to get this open. Watch to the left of your screen. There he is. Look how close everybody is to him. Nobody within 10 yards.
And the biggest day ever for the Bears against Texas continues. Baylor's biggest win before today against Texas, 38-14 in 1978. That was the famous worm game where Taft, in the locker room before the opening kickoff, swallowed that worm. They told you the story, and a little indigestion perhaps worth a 24-point victory that day, and that's the most points the Bears had ever scored against Texas, home or away, until today. And they shattered that by 12 points. Samuels finally with a chance to return a kick by Ireland into the wind, and he got it all the way out to the 33-yard line. 50-7, most points Baylor has ever scored against Texas in the 76th meeting in this rivalry.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I never expected it. I expected a close game. I thought Baylor would play well, mainly because their defense plays so well. But I thought it would be close because I thought Texas would still play, you know, for the pride that we talked about in the opening. But everything has gone wrong. It's not that they haven't played with pride.
This is Lamell Foreman. James Francis still in there. He's going to squeeze every drop out of this he can, and he adds to his tackle total. And down is Jeff Boyd, who is a very highly thought of freshman redshirt from Fort Worth, Western Hills. The executive producer of Raycom Sports is Peter Roth. Senior coordinating producer and producer of today's game, Johnny Tyus. Baylor versus Texas, directed by Lonnie Dale, our technical director Stacy Smith, and our associate producer David W. Hammond. And the rest of our fine crew.
Well, there's Gina and Lee Friday, Kirk McCarley, our great statistician all year, Rick and Dee Ray. They're the owners. We got to salute them. Ken Hain, Max Boykin, Rick Walensik. That's the man I need tickets for, Rick, for the upcoming Diet Pepsi tournament. Some of the other people around here.
And the list goes on.
Yeah, there's Tommy Tate. I can't believe that we mentioned him, Scoop Tate. Some of the other videotape people. So we have an outstanding crew here at Raycom.
Jeff Boyd helped to the sideline, and certainly we would hope that that's nothing serious for the final offensive lineman from Fort Worth, Lamell Foreman. And that is the grandson of Grant Taft, young Josh Bookbinder, on the shoulders of his father, Russ Bookbinder, who is the executive vice president of the San Antonio Spurs, and the husband of Kenny Taft Bookbinder, who just gave birth to their second grandchild, a daughter by the name of Jessie, just a few days ago.
And look who's coming out, number 38 in your scoreboard, number 1 in Baylor's heart today, James Francis.
Well, hard to imagine a better career. Gardner pops it up. And another Baylor takeaway. This one by Greg Effinger.
Number 97.
But a flag down.
Dave, while we wait for them to figure out what this flag is, it looks as if it's going to be tacked on to the tail end of this. We want to make special mention. One of our cameramen, Tom Cox, had to leave last night. His young son got sick, and he left last night about 3 o'clock in the morning to go to the hospital, and we sure want to wish Tom and his family all the best.
Foul fair. It's flag. First down.
You see Gardner has nowhere to go. Look at that pocket just crumble around. There's the fumble. Now here's the recovery, and watch the hit. There's the hit after recovery. Boy, that young man had a great career. I'm going to tell you one thing. If he isn't Mike Singletary, he's the nearest thing I've seen to it.
Who does he remind you of currently in the NFL?
He reminds me a lot of Ted Hendricks, who isn't currently in the NFL because Ted retired after 15 years, but he's got that same leverage, that great height, and he just uses that leverage. He's just tremendous.
Mims with the carry, and the third quarterback of the day for Baylor, Steve Needham, who led Plano High School to back-to-back 5A state championships, gets in with now 4 minutes remaining, and Baylor on top 50-7.
Now they're so far in their deep in their depth chart, they may be using some of the recruits that they're trying to get to come here.
If they fit them, they're probably
right. Put on a couple uniforms. It's been that kind of day. Everybody gets to play in this. It's just really been a showcase of Baylor, and just shows when everything goes wrong for you, what can happen for Texas.
Mims again. Cut back, 5-yard line, maybe close for first and goal. Well, Spike Dykes undefeated at home on Raycom, and Grant Taft undefeated this year on Raycom. He beat SMU, TCU, Texas Tech, and now Texas, so they're 4 of his 5 victories. The Raycom factor is undeniable.
And we'll be back next year, and we'll see who the factor is.
Yeah,
there's a great picture.
Keep that one.
Well, I'll tell you, when you're ahead 50-7, you can do a lot of things.
You know, he may not want us to tell this story. When we saw him on the sideline with the mobile phone at SMU, and it was about this stage of the game, he was calling his daughter.
That's right. See how the baby was coming on.
Checking on her pregnancy. Spun, you're up 43 points.
Well, I'll tell you this also. There's another perfect gentleman across the field on Texas' sideline, and that's David McWilliams. He's considered very low-key, but he's an emotional coach. Oh, boy, there's a fumble.
Mims coughed it up. Texas got it back. And Stanley Richard, the junior from Hawkins, playing like he doesn't know what the score is, and that is to his credit. 3:27 remaining. 50-7 Baylor. There are your Coors players of the game, plural for good reason. Robert Blackman, 3 interceptions, 2 returned for touchdowns, 1 return to the 5-yard line. James Francis, an interception, a fumble recovery between them, 2 touchdowns and 19 tackles in their final collegiate performances.
And both of them justly deserved of that my pick for all Southwest Conference teams.
And today's Coors Players of the Game award.
Number 36,
Adrian Walker. As you look at Anthony Ray, who got into the act offensively and defensively, recovered a fumble and scored a touchdown. And he's got the Thomas Watt look with the scarf.
Raphael, L.A. You know what that means? Los Angeles.
3 minutes remaining. Baylor will wind up 5 and 6, but when you go into the offseason off a win like this, I think you think about that a whole lot more than you think about the fact that you finished the year below 500. And they had a nice streak of winning seasons coming into this campaign. Walker again. Also, they were thought to be a prime contender for the Southwest Conference title beginning the year. David McWilliams' team picked anywhere from 3rd to 5th in most polls, and they stayed into the race until yesterday's victory by Arkansas, which by virtue of this Texas defeat now clinches the Mobile Cotton Bowl host berth, and it doesn't matter what happens when they host SMU at Little Rock next week. Gardere knocked away from Walker. One more big hit by the Baylor secondary, McFarland. Michael McFarland got the hit with 2:12 to go. And Texas again will be forced to punt. This will be the 16th punt by the 2 teams combined. The total yardage before that series was separated by only 43 yards, exactly 1 yard per point when you look at the scoreboard. It was Baylor 248, Texas 205. And stats can occasionally lie, and this is one day when they have done so. Maston almost blocked the punt. Liljedahl with a beauty. But a Baylor bounce, and Bierman downs it near the 30. Still 2:01 remaining here at Memorial Stadium in Austin, and the Bears are going to continue to enjoy it. 2 minutes, 1 second remaining in the season for Baylor. Texas was hoping, as we said, to get a chance to win this one and then face the Aggies for the Cotton Bowl post berth next week, and they still have that one game to try and redeem themselves from this historic loss, the first in this stadium to the Bears since 1951. Needham with the give to Mims. Hunt made the tackle at the 34-yard line, and if Texas can pull off the upset at College Station next week, nobody's going to remember this one for very long.
Well, that's true, and I really think that Texas has got a great heart. They just were so flat coming out because of that loss yesterday. They expected that A&M would win. They expected that they would all of a sudden get a chance to play for the Cotton Bowl. I think they'll play a good football game next week. I really do. I think that they'll play as hard as they possibly can. And it won't be the results, I doubt, will be like this today.
Anthony Ray struggles to get back to the line, and the Aggies would be primed for the letdown that Texas experienced today because they came so close and lost by 1 to Arkansas yesterday.
Absolutely. The roles are quite reversed because Texas will be coming in there playing again for pride. They've been embarrassed today by 50-7 score, and they're going to play with a lot of pride. A&M is going to turn around. They'll play with pride, but they're going to have an emotional letdown because they lost the chance at the Cotton Bowl.
And if you were told coming into the last 2 games for the Baylor season that they'd score 3 against one and 50 against the other, they were going to play Rice in Texas, what would you have guessed? Which would give up 3, which would give up 50? Anthony Ray to the 39 on 3rd down, 38 seconds remaining.
Well, I don't think you can take anything against him. Grant Tapp said it himself. You can't take anything against Rice. They have turned the corner. They're playing with respectability, but I would never have thought that they would have scored, like you say, 3 points against Rice and 50 today against Texas.
And Tapp says that'll do it. They don't have to get another snap off.
Yeah, they're just going to run down the clock. They're not even going to break the huddle. You can see the Texas. Now, he got splashed with water. I see that.
Maybe the biggest win in Grant Paff's coaching career when you consider the history he overcame today. 38 years of frustration ends at Memorial Stadium to the tune of 50-7. Today's game has been brought to you by Coors Extra Gold Draft, by the Phillips 66 Company, by Jefferson Pilot Life Insurance Company, and by Dr. Pepper and Dr. Pepper Bottlers. Join Raycom Sports and Entertainment December 28th for one of the most exciting events in college football, the Liberty Bowl, live from Memphis, Tennessee. Don't miss the 1989 Liberty Bowl, December 28th on Raycom Sports and Entertainment. Quality show.
Coach, before the ball game, you can be known as a team that changed history, and you've accomplished that, and you've done it in a very, very impressive way. But I think the most impressive thing to me is the way that you have handled the adversity that you have experienced this year. The character and integrity that this group of players and coaches possess is really extraordinary. And we go by fast. We've got a lot of things to get done. We go through one game and then we get into the next, and you're hanging on by your faith and your belief, and it's real easy to crumble. It would have been real easy for this football team to turn it in after the misfortunes of last week. But you didn't do that, and what will be more long-lasting for you in your life, even past this great victory that's eradicated a blight on the Baylor people for 38 years, the long-lasting thing is what you learned as individuals to handle adversity, to take defeat and use it really as a stepping stone to a great victory. That'll last you long after all of this is done and the hullabaloo's over. I'm real proud of you. God bless you, and let's have our prayer. Father, we're thankful for the opportunity. We prayed for success, and you gave us opportunity. We used that which you've given us, our talent, our ability, to achieve that success. So for those, yes, we thank you. Amen.
Stay tuned for college football at its finest as we bring you highlights of the game between the Baylor Bears and the Texas Longhorns on tonight's Grant Teff Show. And now in his 18th season, the head football coach of Baylor University, Grant Teff.
There's a lot more to it, obviously, than just playing a game and winning on a Saturday. These young men are students. They feel the same hurt and pain that anyone else feels. And I was tremendously impressed with the job that they've done throughout this year, and a great amount of credit goes to our coaching staff. There's a line that goes, when all about you are losing theirs. Well, this football team and this coaching staff had to remain intact and had to keep our goals set for this final important game against the University of Texas. Our goal was to go down and win in Austin, Texas. It was for you, those of you Baylor folks out there that throughout all these years have suffered because of the fact that Baylor could not win in Austin, Texas. When I came here 18 years ago, they hadn't won in Waco in 18 years, and we were able to eradicate that problem. and compete with the University of Texas and the rest of the Southwest Conference in a very strong way. And the win down there just sort of wiped everything out, and right now it's all on even footing. Recruiting looks absolutely sensational, and win over the University of Texas always helps because they're our main competition. Somehow we seem to go after basically the same kind of youngsters year after year, and we've done that for about 18 years now. So recruiting looks good. We ended on a very high note as far as the finish of the season. We've got a lot to accomplish. I believe very strongly in excellence in all areas of our program. We want to graduate every youngster that we bring in. We want them to have to be the kind of students that they should be and the kind of citizens that they should be. And we also want to win every football game that we play, but we want to do it with integrity and with character. And we're going to be working hard in the off-season to make sure that every aspect of our game is on the level that it should be. You can count on that. Well, what an exciting football game for so many people involved. In the highlights, you'll see some great dramatic plays by a lot of individuals. But I was extremely proud of our offense because they came back and played an absolutely sensational game in the third quarter, doing the things that a good offensive team has to do, all the while rather beat up. We did not have our starting quarterback, Brad Gable, nor our starting left tackle, nor our starting center for that ball game. But those guys really held together and joined with the defense and the kicking game to put on a spectacular show in Austin, Texas, to defeat the University of Texas for the first time in 38 years. It was cloudy and overcast with the winds of about 10 to 15 miles an hour gusting out of the south. Otherwise, it was really a fantastic day. Around 50,000 in attendance. You can see the wind blowing those flags at the south end of the stadium. We wanted the wind. We felt like that it would be an advantage for us, and so we won the toss, and Captain Gary Joe Kinney elected to take the win as we needed to, and the ball was kicked down in the end zone. Let me say right here that Jeff Ireland has become one of the outstanding field goal and kickoff men in the Southwest Conference. Well, we opened up rather dramatically. James Francis doing his normal thing, blitzing and sacking the quarterback. And we get excellent field position, a short drive, and we want points on the board. So we attempt a field goal that was one of the longest that Jeff Ireland has kicked. It was a very, very fine hold by Kent Brentham. The ball was low and on the ground. Kent jerked the ball up and placed it properly. You know, we do not use a tee now, and the holder is even more important than ever before. And Kent Brentham has done a great job all year long, as has number 14, Jeff Ireland. All of Jeff's kickoffs went into the end zone and some out of the end zone throughout the first and third quarter with a little bit of wind. Here's a 3rd and 17, and you see pressure up the middle, and the ball is thrown out in the flat to Tony Jones, and James Francis put pressure from the inside. Robert Blackman made the interception and just easily walked it into the end zone to give us a quick 10-0 lead. This is Gardier, who's had a very successful year this year. The ball is thrown just a little bit high. You can see it's tipped there, and then taken into the end zone with a lot of ease. Another good shot of this. We're putting together a highlight of James Francis and Robert Blackman, and we're going to have that ready in a week or so, and it is an exciting career highlight for these two young men. They're roommates, incidentally. Garrett Long is a converted strong safety that we have converted down to defensive end. Last spring, we moved a lot of people around to get them in proper positions and ended up with a great defense this year. An excellent pressure. That number 99 there is Curtis Hafford, and he's going to be one of our future outstanding linebackers. He is a sophomore. Again, Gardier is under extreme pressure, and James Francis and Hafford, you're getting a slow-mo shot of that. Franklin was always in there putting good pressure. Gary Joe Kinney, a fine middle linebacker, senior, having a great year this year. James Francis and Robert Blackman have already both been selected to play in the East-West and the Hula Bowl game. And Pete Rutter has already been selected to play in the Blue-Gray game in Montgomery, Alabama on Christmas Day. They changed quarterbacks, and This young man is a 5-year man, Donovan Forbes, similar to Ed Lovell. And he, the week before, had pulled the game out for Texas in the 4th quarter against TCU. And they went to him rather early in this ball game. But he did not have that much luck. As you can see, he made a fine pass completion here, but Malcolm Frank knocked the ball loose on the tackle, and the other cornerback coming across, Charles Bell, intercepted. And here, speaking of interceptions, is Robert Blackman taking another touchdown into the end zone. I want you to look at this on slow-mo, and one of the characteristics of a great defensive back is the ability to read the quarterback and then to break on the ball and to intercept the ball at its highest point. And this is a picture-perfect way that you'll see right here. You follow the quarterback as he's getting some outside pressure out of the corner of his right eye. Ball is thrown a little bit high. The wind is behind him, but look at the perfection on the interception. And Robert Blackman takes it in. The fumble recovery a moment ago was Charles Bell, and then we get right back in there with this interception that goes into the end zone. Robert also has another interception in the game that could have well scored. That's 3 in one ball game, and I think he's either the top or close to the top in the Southwest Conference as far as statistics are concerned, interceptions. Now it's 11:42 in the 2nd quarter, 4th and 1 at midfield, or actually on their own 45, and our defense, like they did on several times this year, shut the offense down. Texas offense was held to no gain right there. Jerry Joe Kinney, Hafford, James Francis. A lot of the Baylor defense is right there where they needed to be. This first half of the ball game, we kicked a field goal from an offensive standpoint. Tried not to make any mistakes that would put ourselves in any kind of bad situation, and used our defense to build up a lead and to contain Texas. We felt like if we could go into the half with a lead, that in the 3rd quarter they would be put into a position having to decide whether to take the win from the 3rd quarter or the 4th quarter. That was their only drive. They had about a 60-yard total drive, a couple of pass plays, and down to close to our goal line, and James Francis made the big stop that kept them out of the end zone, and that was real important psychologically to keep them out of the end zone. Had they gotten a field goal or a touchdown there, they would have narrowed the gap 17-3 or 7 and given them a little bit of a psychological edge going in. But as it turned out, James Francis gave us a psychological edge by making the interception on the 1-yard line and returning it. You know, everybody has their faults, and James certainly doesn't carry the ball like a great running back, but I guess we can forgive him that. Great job, James Francis. We go in at the halftime with a 17-0 lead, and we feel pretty good about our chances. We hadn't made any serious mistakes from an offensive standpoint. We felt like there were some things that we could do in the second half to move the ball. We're going in to work on that, and we'll be back in just a moment.
This moment of motivation is brought to you by the Dr. Pepper Bottling Company of Texas. Baylor and Dr. Pepper, just what the doctor ordered.
Belief is a powerful force in all of our lives. I guess one of the first things that I tried to teach the youngsters that I came in contact with here at Baylor was the power of believing in something. I wrote a book years ago called I Believe, and it detailed a lot about that particular concept, that if you really believe in something, your chances of making it happen are much greater. The power to believe is generated inside all of us. We believe in ourselves. We believe in forces and powers greater than we. We believe in our purposes, and we believe in what we're doing in this existence that we have. If we can do all of those things, believe in a positive way, it allows us to approach every task in a very positive manner. Believing that you can win a football game is the first step to victory. Believing that you can be successful in life is essential.
Texas' decision at halftime was to go ahead and take the football. They're down 17 points. Felt like they had to move the ball into the wind and then get the win in the 4th quarter and hopefully win the game.
However, they did not start off in the right type of situation. They fumbled the football right off the bat. Reggie Howard made the recovery. And right on the opening second play of the series, our offense knocks the ball into the end zone. It was the start of a very, very productive third quarter. Well over 100 yards of offense and 5 straight possessions where we scored from an offensive standpoint. And, of course, still the defense played great, gave a lot of good field position, but it was a great productive quarter for our offensive unit. Ed Lovell started his 4th game for Baylor University and led us to victory. He or any of the other starters did not play in the 4th quarter. We carried our full travel squad of 66 plus about 4 seniors, and everyone on the squad got to play in the 4th quarter. Gary Joe Kinney starting out where he left off in the first half, sacking Gardier. We get the football back, and here's a great play by Eldwin Raphael, but he certainly had a good hole in the offensive line. And here comes our fullback, Eric Gilstrap, who had a very good day. We elected in the 3rd quarter to run directly at the heart of the Texas defense. Their defense is similar to ours, a 4-3. Ed steps out, throws the ball complete to the back out of the backfield, and he picks up about 17 yards for a big first down. That was, of course, Mims. And here's Mims going in for the touchdown. He's an exciting young man. He is a freshman and has gotten to play an awful lot this year, particularly after a couple of injuries. Gardier's back in at quarterback now. That young man right there, Darren Franklin, I told him coming home on the bus that I've been more proud of fewer men in my coaching career than Darren Franklin. He came to Baylor as a walk-on, and he's going to graduate right on time, and he earned a scholarship and became a starter for us and a great player. This young man is also a great player. I've told you week after week that he's been the most consistent defensive back out there. 2 weeks ago, I decided to let him do what I recruited him for. That was to return kicks, and for the last 2 weeks, he's been outstanding. We've gotten great field position because of his ability to return kicks. Here's a great run, a 33-yard run by that freshman again. He either pulled a hamstring here or he thought I might be upset that he ran out of bounds. I think he knotted up a little bit, and he was able to come back and play a little bit later in the 3rd quarter. Jeff Ireland kicking the field goal, and now the score is 33-0 with 4:13 left in the 3rd quarter. Again, Jeff Ireland kicks the ball out of the into the end zone, and they bring it out. And that's Lachey Maston, another freshman you saw flying through the air. He has total disregard for his own physical well-being, but I don't like to see him do that. He's going to be a great player, one of the outstanding athletes that we've recruited at Baylor University. Another field goal, this one, of course, with the wind again to move it up to 36-0 with 2:18 left in the quarter. Gardier being pressured by a young man that got to play some defense against Rice University last week, and that's Anthony Ray. We now call him Two-Way Ray. There are very few players in the United States of America in Division I that are playing both offense and defense, but he has a lot of talent. He's been hurt a lot, and we're happy that he's finally getting to play a little bit. Another interception by Robert Blackman, and there's Anthony Ray on offense, scoring a touchdown from 4 yards out behind some absolutely outstanding blocking by the left side of our offensive line. Those guys were really fired up and did a super job for us in this ball game. Score now is 43-0. Baylor University over the University of Texas. We had a great crowd of folks down there, and there was a pretty good crowd right there around Gardier. Santana Dotson, who is a sophomore, and that young man right there is Lowe, Marcus Lowe, and he's going to be a great player. They're two premier defensive tackles, and both of them are extremely young, sophomores to be exact. There's a true freshman, and here comes another freshman, Melvin Bonner, and another freshman, and another freshman. All of those are freshmen scoring in the 4th quarter. They were happy to get on the field and to score against the University of Texas. Ricky Vestal was the quarterback during part of the fourth quarter, along with Steve Needham. Here's a shot of Ricky throwing the ball. Ricky had 4 completions, a real good day for him. Well, we certainly hope Ricky and a lot of the other younger players that got to play in this game will be able to compete in the spring for a spot on next year's football team, and I think that they definitely will. Well, it was a great victory for the Baylor Bears, 50-7 against the University of Texas, the first victory in Austin, Texas in 38 years. As we conclude this 1989 season and the Grant Taft Show for the 1989 season, I would be remiss if I did not take a personal moment to share with you, particularly those of you that are graduates of Baylor University and support our program, and those that have not graduated but yet have, through the years, supported our university and in particular our football program. Our thanks to you for that great support, and for those of you that this year called and sent letters and cards to me and to our team when times were tough. You'll never know how much that was appreciated. Now I want to express something else that is extremely important, and that is that we are in the final months, in fact this month and next month, of our building campaign for our end zone and stadium renovation. We lack just a little under $1 million to complete that very, very important program. If you have not made your pledge, please write me or call me. It's imperative that we have those pledges before December the 31st. We don't want to leave one thing out of the construction of this well-planned end zone facility and stadium renovation. We want our program to be on a level with those across the United States, and to have these kind of facilities is extremely important. I'm counting on you to help in that area. Now, I again would be remiss if I didn't thank a lot of people. Roger Lindstrom, our producer of this show, has done a tremendous job week after week, and all of those that have helped us in this area. We really appreciate the extra effort, the intensity that you've put forth. Thanks for all that you've done to all of you, and we end this 1989 season by saying simply, thank you all.